Today, live, four of the greatest names in the history of golf meet for $360,000. Jack Nicklaus came on the tour with a blonde crew cut, extra poundage, and cast in the role of a villain in the 60s. 22 years later, he's established himself as the greatest player in the history of the game. His popularity now glows as bright as his credentials. Arnold Palmer on the scene in 1954 to become the most beloved player to ever step onto a golf course. And along the way from Latrobe, Pennsylvania to the Hall of Fame, he has won 61 times on the tour, including 8 major championships. Gary Player at 5'7", the smallest of the big three, who has made giant contributions to golf despite his lack of size. From Johannesburg, South Africa, a player indeed aptly named. Tom Watson, the Huck Finn of the PGA Tour, the freckle-faced redhead from Kansas, who has become the game's most dominating player over the last 6 years. He has won 28 tournaments, 5 British Opens, 8 major titles. The Player of the Year 5 times in the last 6 years. The years have been good to these four: Player, Palmer, Nicklaus, and Watson, and they have been great for the game. They meet today under the craggy stare of Pinnacle Peak and down on the desert floor where saguaro cactus reach like hands in supplication to an indifferent sky, mesquite and boulders scrubbed by the Great Wash. They will meet at Desert Highland Golf Club, one of the more unique, innovative, and imaginative courses in America. These four who have put on such great battles over such famous courses as Augusta, Oakmont, Cherry Hills, Baltusrol, Troon, Pebble Beach, and Carnoustie. All four paired today for the first time, and perhaps the last time, will do battle for $360,000 in skins. On the first tee, a par 4, 356 yards, the illustrious four outlined against this powder blue Arizona sky, and our referee for today's match, Joseph C. Dye, Jr., the former executive director of the USGA. The honor on the first tee was decided by a draw by number a little bit earlier. Now let's go to Mr. Dye.
Gentlemen, the order of the draw is Arnold Palmer, Tom Watson, Gary Player, and Jack Nicklaus. Arnold, play away, please.
61 times he has won on the PGA Tour, 8 majors, 54-year-old Arnold Palmer.
We may never get finished today.
He has lost none of his skill nor his sense of humor. On this first hole, a gambler's hole, but he is conservatively going with an iron. Steering it down the right side, and perhaps in that bunker on the left side, we're drifting to the right of the green. So Palmer in trouble here on the first hole as he has found the sand. Iron for Tom Watson. About a 190-yard carry from a green, or actually from a tee that's 100 feet above the fairway. Center. Ideal spot for Tom Watson. Next up will be Gary Player. Player also choosing an iron. Left towards the gallery. So Palmer in the sand, Watson in the fairway, Player on the left edge of the fairway, and now Jack Nicklaus. 58 degrees, crystal clear in the desert. The oohs and ahs reflecting the fact that Jack has hit it dead center. This first hole, 356-yard par 4, a magnificent stage for the opening act in today's drama.
The first hole at Desert Highlands is a 356-yard par 4, and it's a gambler's hole right off the bat. The player can use a driver off the tee. It's probably a dangerous gamble, and he can knock it on the green. It's very tight down there, though. Probably a safer shot would be a 3-wood or a 1-iron into the fairway. As you can see, there's rocks on the right and a waste area on the left. The second shot should be a pitch of no more than 100 yards. There is some difficulty, however, with a big dip in the middle of this green, and the pin today is just behind this dip. The player will choose whether to bump and run it up this hill or loft it all the way to the back of the green, hoping to make a 3 or a birdie.
So the first shots have been fired and the battle has been joined. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully. Welcome to Desert Highlands, and welcome indeed to Skins. And what a great thrill to see Messrs. Nicklaus, Palmer, Player, and Watson in a foursome for the first time ever, and for all we know, maybe the last time as well. Now, Skins is a game that's played all across the country, wherever golfers gather. If for some reason or other you've never played it, it's very simple. Let's say that you and I are part of a foursome. We've decided the first hole will be worth $1, as each of the other 17 will be worth $1. If you do not have an outright winner on the first hole, if 2 players or more tie, all 4 players move on to the second hole, and the dollar is carried over, so the second hole is then worth $2. No winner at 2, the third hole would be worth $3. Well, that's fine for you and me, but when you're talking about Nicklaus, Palmer, Player, and Watson, we're talking big bucks. Here's what we're talking about. The first 6 holes, they will each play $10,000 a hole. The second 6, $20,000 a hole, and the third 6, $30,000 a hole, a grand total prize of $360,000. We will show you 9 holes today and 9 holes tomorrow, and the first should really fly with all that money and professional pride at stake. To tell you the story, we have Ben Crenshaw, the smiling gentleman from Austin, Texas. And Ben, this is not a regular PGA Tour event, so I'm sure the strategy is a little different.
The strategy is much different, and it's total offensive golf. I mean, these fellas are after each other. There's lots of things can happen, but you can sure bet if Nicklaus hits one out there, and Palmer's he's not gonna lay up either. All these fellows are gonna be totally offensive.
And it's just about having 18 tournaments for 18 holes.
That's right.
To tell us the story along with Ben Crenshaw out on the tees, fairways, and greens, we have former Masters champion Bob Goalby and John Schroeder. So the cast is ready, the players are in place for their second shots. Let's go out to the course and live action.
Yes, I'm out in the middle of the first fairway. I'm over here by Gary Player. He's the shortest off the tee. Arnold's in the right-hand sand trap. Gary, that's a tough pin placement there, isn't it?
Bob, it certainly is. They got the Valley of Sin right in the middle there. But it's a short hole, so I think it's very fair, Bob.
Gary has approximately 140 yards to the pin. As he said, the Valley of Sin. His tough thing is to carry all the way back to the flag. If you hit that bank, you're going to spin back.
We like that. Full 8, do you think?
Arnold's going to hit first, even though he isn't out. Mr. Dye ruled him out.
140 yards?
From the angle, I guess.
Yeah.
Arnold's in the sand trap, approximately 145 yards to the pin, using a little 7-iron. Good, crisp shot. Made solid contact.
Great looking golf shot. It doesn't go too far. Oh, it's carried to green, Bob, and hit the gallery. Bounce back. He's going to have a very difficult shot to save par.
Can I go, Bob? Can I hit?
Gary Player with a 7-iron also. He's actually just in the edge of the fairway. It's in a short rough, but it's a good lie. He possibly learned a little bit there from Arnold. The wind is quartering a little behind him. Just slightly to the right of the pin.
Good looking golf shot. If that ball's far enough, it's going to be very close. Magnificent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Watson with an 8-iron from 135 yards. Middle of the fairway.
That's coming right at the flag also.
A little to the right.
Oh, it caught that hill and spinning down toward the cup.
Stay there.
Great break there, John.
Thanks, Jack.
It sure was, Bob. That slope on the right there really helped him get closer to the hole. Rolling
Jack.
about 5 feet closer.
Jack is about 128 yards to the flag. I heard him say to his caddy, his son, Jackie Nicklaus, using a 9-iron. A little left of the flag. Not very much, though.
So Jack Nicklaus is on the green along with Gary Player and Tom Watson. Palmer is over the green, and we are well underway in the battle for $10,000 on this first hole. Well, as we look at the players walking towards the green, just to set it in perspective, Jack Nicklaus drove in the center of the fairway and is looking at a birdie putt. Arnold Palmer drove into the sand, and his second shot went over the green. Gary Player hit into the gallery on the left side, but found the green, and he'll be putting for birdie. Tom Watson from the fairway to the green, and a sizable putt for birdie. And remember, if two players tie, all four then go on to the second hole, and the second hole with the carryover would then be worth $20,000. Joseph Dye coming down to check to see if there'll be a drop from that sprinkler head back of the green.
What's the ruling here, Mr. Dye?
He was lying on an obstruction, so he gets relief from it plus another club length. And he's right in the middle, so he could drop either side.
Thank
No
you.
penalty.
Free drop. But he doesn't have a very easy shot. Very little green to play with up there. Arnold heard me say that, and he's giving me a dirty look now. Do you think it's easy, Arn?
No, but I didn't need to tell you to tell me it was hard.
Great shot by Arnold there. He couldn't really stop it. That's about as close as he could possibly stop it, about 8 feet.
Arnold Palmer now, looking at par, will root for two players to birdie, so we would have then the carryover.
Thank you.
Line, guys. What's that? One of you is going to make it? All of you make it? A couple inches out, huh?
This is
Okay.
Jack Nicklaus surveying his putt. Familiar scene there to all of us. Jack hunches over at the putt a little more than the average player, but deadly on the greens. He's about 15 feet away. A good smooth surface, going to break slightly from his left to right.
Short does you a lot of good in this game. Jeez.
Gary Player, the next player, he's about 8 feet away. Watson, the closest, actually got that great break off of that right hand little knob. It spun back down to the hole. Gary hit just a beautiful golf shot in on top of the hill and stopped very quickly. The greens here are just magnificent. I've never seen better grass. They're fairly fast, they're true, and if you make a good stroke or get the touch going today, I believe you could have a good day. Gary Player trying to make the first birdie on the first hole from 8 feet. Magnificent little competitor here, Gary Player from South Africa. He took a good run at it, ran by about 2 feet. Okay, 1, 2.
Now, of course, with Tom Watson putting for birdie, he could win $10,000. And for the moment, Messrs. Nicklaus, Palmer, and Player have to be rooting for Watson to miss to make it a $10,000 carryover and make the second hole $20,000.
Built better greens. This looks like a carpet. These are perfect.
Got the last birdie.
Tom, nice birdie, first hole, huh?
Nice way to start off, isn't it?
A little 10,000 in the back pocket?
Yeah, it's 600 for my caddy.
So Nicklaus, Palmer, and Player frustrated as Player missed from 8 feet, Nicklaus missed from 15, and Watson wins $10,000. Tom Watson has hit the ball 3 times today and already earned $10,000 and the honor on the second hole, which is worth $10,000.
With the driver to the right, John.
Swing, honey. Darn it.
It's heading toward the cactus, Bob. He's out there in that sandy hard pan. He didn't get quite into the terrible stuff.
Jack Nicklaus, the next player. Par 5. A little against the wind. Jack and Arnold are arguing who has the honor.
That's fine.
You want me to not hit? I'll go.
Good drive.
Oh,
well, it's
stop.
slicing now to the right. Same line, John.
Yeah, you darn it.
That ball hit very soft, Bob, and stayed in the fairway. Got a good break there.
He hit it in the heel. You could tell it didn't go near as far as Watson's drive, did it?
No, not anywhere near it. You know, down here where I am in the fairway, the wind's really blowing hard from the player's left to his right. So, and I don't think they're aware of it up there in that tee. You're so high up there in those rocks.
We can feel it a little bit here. Left.
Yeah, this looks real good. Look out, people. Oh, it just barely carried the gallery by about 5 yards.
Good amateurs.
Stop blowing, wind.
This is a par 5, 584 yards long. A little against that wind, quartering from the left. Oh, Jack hit a good solid one. The wind got it too. It's going to the right, John.
Isn't that amazing?
Gracious.
That ball's heading toward the scrub brush, too. He seems to be okay. Didn't go all the way into the cactus.
So this par 5 has seen Nicklaus and Watson in trouble on the right, Palmer on the right side fairway, and Player in good position on the left. Here's Bob Golby to describe the second hole for us.
The second hole is a par 5 with the tee nestled in the rocks here to the right on your screen. This is an awesome looking hole. You must hit the ball approximately 250 yards of carry off of the tee to clear all of that barranca and desert, just raw greenery out there, to that plateau of green there with fairway, and then you have a possible chance if you hit a big tee shot to reach this green in 2. But I think the smart money will take a 3 or 4 iron and play over this barranca that crosses the fairway, up short of the fairway bunkers that go all the way in front of the green. It's a possibility. If you lay here, you'll have about a 90-yard shot with a wedge. It's going to be a difficult birdie hole, and I think if a fellow makes a birdie here, he's going to win a skin.
We have time to remind you, if time permits, we will have 9 holes of live coverage today, and then the final 9 tomorrow. Tom Watson has already won with a birdie on the first hole to win $10,000. And as far as tomorrow's 9 is concerned, we would ask you to check your local listings for the time in your area, depending upon football games, as you well can imagine. Ben Crenshaw, you have played with these fellows, and we have a moment. If I should say to you, in word association, Arnold Palmer, what comes to mind?
Well, I watched Arnold win the 1961 Texas Open when I was 10 years old, and he was making putts all over the greens. It seemed like everything was caught up in his wake. It seemed like the people, the concession stands, everything. This man was he's certainly the most dynamic player.
What would come to mind if I said Jack Nicklaus?
Jack Nicklaus, I always remember one shot that he hit at Augusta. It was on number 13. He was going for the green in 2. He had a 1-iron in his hand, and he hit a shot that was nearly inhuman. He hit a ball that was just painted up in the air, and it's great to play with these guys and to watch them play in this format. These guys are something.
Well, it was something for Tom Watson. We can go back to the first hole for the moment and reconstruct his birdie. He went from the fairway to the green, and he had this putt.
It was a putt that he thought he could make. He's deadly in that instance, and it's certainly nice to birdie the first hole on any given day. But in this format, he's feeling good.
We have heard Tom Watson say to Jack Nicklaus, I wish you had made better greens. These are like carpets. Just where are these greens? Are they as good as any of you seen or what?
I think they're excellent. And you've got to remember, too, that they haven't been planted that long. It's a very new golf course.
Where are we?
In the desert, of course, grass grows quickly, but Jack has a wonderful maintenance team, and he's done it well. I think you'll see a lot of putts hold.
When you look at this illustrious quartet, look at this. In the last 25 years, they have just dominated the game. 14 Masters, and of course, Palmer and Nicklaus have made sizable contributions in picking up green coats along the way. Let's go back to Bob Goldby now as we pick up the second shots on the par 5 worth $10,000.
This is Arnold Palmer. You recall he kind of heeled his drive a little to the right, and it did not carry as far as Nicklaus and Watson. He's got a 3-wood from the fairway.
We're going just between the cactus, right, Scotty? Huh?
You heard him talking to his caddy, Scotty. He's going to go between those cactus just like a field goal, but he has a lot of barranca. He has to carry the ball up 225 to 30 yards against the wind to get back to that other plateau of fairway. He's pulled it slightly to the left over towards the gallery, hollering 4.
Well, that ball hit in the fairway, Bob, was going toward the bunker, but it's just short. Actually, he's in great shape for his third shot, about 110 yards.
Swinging like I was playing for some money or something.
Gary, the next hitter, is using a 3-wood, a metal wood. He cannot possibly reach the green. It's a little against the wind now. He's going to try to stay short of those fairway bunkers up against the green.
Beautiful shot.
Pushed it slightly to the right side.
That ball hit on the right edge of the fairway and bounded a little more left. He's about 100 yards from the flag, Bob.
That's what I'm saying.
Our other two players are down in the
most of it is dirt.
clean desert, as we're going to call it. It's part of the golf course. He can actually sold his club here. It looks like sand trap or bunker, but it really isn't. He just said, he heard me say it. He said he can sold his club, but it will not help him.
Shot, guys. Left move back. Yeah, you're all right there.
He's going with a 5-iron,
Why,
going
you're
to
all
try
right,
to
but
clear
you're
this
all right.
wild barranca that crosses the fairway. He has a shot of about 165 to 70 yards to get back to the fairway. Standing way above the ball. He hit it fat and pulled it to the left.
This is a terrible shape here. It's right in the weeds, the scrub brush. He's got to play. He's hoping he can tie somebody now. He's probably out of the hole here, unless he got a heck of a break.
Tom has a lot better lie. He's in the same area, but he has a clean lie. He doesn't have any of that garbage and rocks and sand behind him. Jack, that's amazing in golf. Now here we see Watson using a wood, and you had to use a 5-iron.
The 6-iron, yeah. Well, he has a better lie than I do.
It's just the luck of the game, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, he hit a nosediver into the barranca also.
That is history there, I think, Bob.
Bad stuff there, isn't it, Jack?
Yeah, well, what's so bad here, Bob, is we've got a 80-yard fairway to hit it in, and both Tom and I knocked it out of the fairway. I mean, it's sort of ridiculous, really.
Well,
they're pretty bad tee shots.
Which shows that you're human, Jack.
Very.
You guys out of play.
So on the second hole, worth $10,000, Gary Player, who is short to the right 100 yards to the green, would appear to be in great shape. We'll be right back after this. Jack Nicklaus preparing to make his third shot on the par 5. You remember he was in trouble off the tee, had to use a 6-iron, and found himself in more trouble, as did Tom Watson. Arnold Palmer was short of the bunker and the gallery after 2 shots, and Gary Player is in perfect position about 100 yards.
Hit it hard and see what happens. Okay.
Jack has a 5-iron in his hand. He has to go through that little bush. He's just going to try for a little luck. He's got to hit that bush with his ball, and he did hit a good-looking shot. Boy, he went right through there.
That's up.
That's going to reach the green, Bob.
That was a great shot from there, Johnny.
Boy, you know, he got a heck of a break being able to even swing at it, Bob.
But he had a clean lie, but he had a bush. He had to actually knock the ball right through the bush.
Could have been in the bush.
Arnold Palmer, who drove down the right side of the fairway, missing the gallery and short of the bunker, and now ready for his third shot. This hole worth $10,000.
You know, Vinny, he's got a great angle to come into the flag where it's cut today. It's cut back right, very close to the right edge, and he's way left, so he's got the whole green to work with.
Nine-iron for Arnold. Started to the
Pull
left.
it, Arnie.
Didn't hit nearly enough club.
Darn it.
So Palmer is on in 3, Nicklaus is on in 3, Watson is short of the green in 3, and Player is lying 2 on a par 5.
Yeah, I hit it thin.
Watson with
Bunker.
a thin pitching wedge to the right.
Back over in the cactus. He's having a lot of fun this hole, isn't he, Bob?
They're giving Gary a little opening, aren't they?
They sure are.
Gary's 95 yards. I heard him safe to the flag with a pitching wedge. A little against the wind, and I think he can stop it very quickly. A little long.
A little long here. This is getting really interesting now. He's over the green.
Oh,
What a nice shot, too, man. Jeez. Damn it. Why did that ball go so far?
5 might be a pretty good goal, pretty good score here.
Gee.
Well, Arnold looks like he may be in the driver's seat now after that terrible second shot.
A few moments ago, we were talking about Tom Watson, trouble right, then hit a wood into this mesquite and brush, and used an iron to come out nicely, Ben.
Well, these fellows have visited the desert highlands. I'm having a little fun watching this here.
It's kind of interesting. We came on the air with a lot of fanfare, drum rolls, and bugles about the 4 greatest players, and we have seen them in the sand, in the barranca, in the gallery, over the green. It's quite a beginning.
They're going to get to Jack here in a minute. They're going to strangle him.
So right now, Watson is lying 4, Player, Palmer, and Nicklaus, with Palmer in the best position for the moment.
Gee, Vinny, Jack is actually on the green, the putting surface. Gary Player and Watson are over the green, but Jack is out. He's further from the pin than the other 2, so Jack's play. Jack has about a 45 to 50-foot putt.
That's fine.
He has to negotiate a few slopes and up a hill, and then it's going to slope away from him. So it's going to be slow going up, and then it's going to pick up speed the last 15 feet.
Thank you.
Fine.
It looks good if it keeps rolling a little bit. That was a nice approach putt from that point.
Oh, boy, that took a funny roll, though. Took a funny roll.
So Nicklaus, from about 50 feet, runs it by the hole, and will now be looking at his best would be a par.
That's good there.
Arnold Palmer has another lengthy putt for birdie. And considering Player and Watson are over the green, he's in the driver's seat, at least for the moment.
Better slow down a little.
So Palmer now trying for par as best he can do, along with Jack. Both Gary Player and Tom Watson over the green. Player's fourth shot on this par 5.
Thank you very much. Excuse us, please.
So Nicklaus, Palmer, and Player are all lying 4, as is Watson. But Watson is over the green. Remember now, 2 players tie, all have considered tied, and a $10,000 carryover would go to the 3rd hole.
Left. Kick left.
Yeah, we've seen Tom chip in so much. He's a little dismayed with that one.
Somebody do something.
Now Tom's rooting all of them on.
Tried, he said, somebody do something. Well,
Somebody do
Nicklaus,
something.
Palmer, and Player are all putting for par.
Wished I had a 5.
This is Arnold putting for his par 5. He ran his first putt from about 40 feet past about 6 feet. At one time in Arnold's career, he made all of these. He could charge putts and come right back and make these. He hasn't been as dynamic the last few years, but he's still very good on the carpets. First par 5, missed it to the right.
So now Palmer and Watson are looking at bogey. Par could certainly win the hole, and Nicklaus and Player still have an opportunity for par.
You know, I saw Tom Watson pick his coin up, Vinny, with the back of his putter. They must have said that's good. I wasn't close enough to hear the conversation.
It's going to be a real bitch to see that ball come off the tee.
So Gary Player gets his par.
Thank you. Nice. No wonder it's fucking up.
Watson could pick up, of course, because the best he could do would be a
For
bogey.
me and 1 against.
Now Jack Nicklaus putting for his par.
I didn't hear what he said.
Actually, Jack knows that Palmer and Watson are rooting for him, and Player is rooting against him. That was the point he just made and elicited the laugh from the gallery. And so the best Nicklaus can do is bogey, and that means Gary Player with a par wins the par 5 for $10,000. So we've had 2 winners so far. Tom Watson with a birdie at 1 and Player with a par on the par 5 second. The 3rd hole, which will be a $10,000 hole, will be described by John Schroeder.
The 3rd hole is really a long par 4. You can see the tee back here in the desert. And the players have to hit their tee shots about 220 yards to carry all this waste area into the fairway. Now, the way to play the hole is to hit a high, hard hook as hard as you can and as far as you can, because this hole measures 452 yards. Now, you can see that tree in the fairway. It'll be between the players and the hole, but it really isn't in play because it's a long ways from the green. This club selection here in the second shot is the most critical part. The green is guarded in front right by this very deep bunker, and you can see the pins cut up close to it, so hitting at the right distance is very important. If the player doesn't hit it hard enough, he's in the bunker, and if he's too far, he's over the green in those grass pot bunkers. A 4 is a good score in this hole, but a 3 will definitely win the skin today.
Well, and looking back, Tom Watson with a birdie on 1 picked up $10,000. The second hole, a par 5, Gary Player won it with a par. With Watson, Palmer, and Nicklaus, best they could do was bogey, so no one could tie Player. That means no carryover yet as we go to the third hole worth $10,000. Magnificent day here in Scottsdale. High, I believe, about 58 degrees, and the course in magnificent condition. Ben, we were asking you word association about Nicklaus and Palmer. Let's continue a little bit. What about Gary Player?
I've seen Gary, and as many people have, he's seen so many great bunker shots. You immediately associate his name with bunker shots. He can really manufacture those shots. I've seen him hit the most incredible shots that you've ever seen. He is so determined. I don't think there's a player in the world who believes in himself more.
Are you surprised that a par was a winner on a par 5 hole with these players?
Well, a little bit, I guess, but as we certainly saw, there's a lot of trouble out there. Now, this hole here, the members say it's one of the most difficult holes out here, so a par may well win this one, too.
Down the right center.
This ball better biter is going to run through the fairway, and it's in this grassy pot bunker. They got a break. He roll right down the bottom. He's going to have a very awkward second shot, though.
Dead center, perfect drive.
Boy, there's a good drive, Bob. It's 50 yards past where Gary hit his. He really hit this a long way, and his hole's playing into the wind today.
Left center, good looking shot.
Right down the left side of the fairway. Excellent position. Leaves him about 200 yards from the flag.
This hole's playing a little long against that wind today.
Boys, it's really blowing down here in the fairway, and it's cold, too.
Little right center, good looking shot.
Well, he went down a grass pot bunker, Bob. He's going to have a very, very awkward second shot. He has to hit over a knob right in front of him. I don't think he can reach the green from there, really.
So Watson is in the center of the fairway. Player might be in a pot bunker. Palmer is in the fairway, and Nicklaus in a little trouble in a pot bunker. Hole number 3 worth $10,000. So far, Watson and Player have each netted $10,000 apiece, and we'll be back with more right after these messages. We're at the third hole of par 4 at Desert Highlands Golf Club. A reminder, tomorrow's 9 holes, we would ask you to check your newspaper for listings and time. And for our good friends in Los Angeles, a reminder for you as well that skins will be on at 4 p.m. tomorrow after football. Right now, we're very much alive. Watson with a birdie won $10,000 on the first hole. Player with a par won $10,000 on the second hole. And we'll get down to Bob Goldby now and see the next shot.
I'm standing right here with Gary Player. He's the first to hit on this third hole. Tough hole, a little against the wind. He's got 184 to the flag. He's discussing it with his caddy. He's asking his caddy what he likes. He has 184 yards to the flag, and the wind is not really going to hurt him. It's coming from his left to right now. He's probably going to hit a 4-iron from this spot. He has a good lie. He's in the flat part of that pot bunker. Even though there's a rise in front of him about 10 feet ahead of him, he will get the ball up fast enough to get over that.
Ron or Jack's, Joe? I'm next.
Gary with the 4-iron, the third hole, 184 yards. He has one skin now, to his credit, at the first hole. Oh, Watson has, I'm sorry. Gary on the second hole. Just left, slightly left of the flag, John.
That's not nearly enough club, Bob. He's 2 clubs short. You really got fooled on the wind and the slope.
He sure did. Got up fast, didn't it?
Sure did. It's kind of important to put it in the fairway in this game.
Looked good in the air, eh?
Arnold, the next player, hitting a 4-iron from the left center of the fairway. 180 yards away.
This
Just slightly
ball's
to the
gotta-
left of the flag.
This ball's got to get up.
Jack in a right-hand rough in that pot bunker with a good lie. But now he has to elevate the ball very quickly to get over that knob that's in front of him. So the wind should be a factor in his shot, John, because he's going to get it up very quickly.
It's blowing pretty hard from left to right down here at the green, Bob.
He started to the left, and he hit it good and solid. Man, it's coming right back to the flag. It looks beautiful if it's enough.
It's not far enough, Bob. Short. The wind's really got him fooled down here.
That pin way back in the green?
Short. Well, it's 3/4 of the way back on the left side, but they're just not figuring for the wind properly.
Watson 160 yards away with the 5-iron. Normally he would hit a 6-iron, but because of the wind, he started slightly to the
Get
left.
up now.
This ball's got to hurry.
Short.
Tricky second shot. That wind really fooled all 3 of them.
That is. We've got to play it a little bit faster, laddie. It took us 45 minutes the first 2 holes.
So Nicklaus is on the green, Watson is on the green, Palmer is on the green, and Player is short in the sand. And we'll be back with the 3rd hole. Here's Gary Player, the one man off the green, but his specialty coming up, a shot out of the sand, his 3rd shot.
Gonna have to hurry. It broke loose a little bit. It's gonna run up about, ran better than we thought, about 4 feet away. Good shot from where he was. He's one of the best bunker players in the world.
However, Gary Player, his best will be a par, and Nicklaus, Palmer, and Watson are alive with possible birdies.
Palmer's about 35 feet, 38 feet away, Vinny. He's gonna putt first. He's going uphill slightly, so he will not have a real fast putt. Although these greens are slick no matter which direction you're coming from. Arnold probably has changed putters more than any living human that's ever played the game. He's changed from yesterday. I saw him practicing with a different one.
So Palmer and Player at best will have pars. That leaves the door open for Nicklaus and or Watson. Remember, if 2 tie, all 4 are alive, and they have a $10,000 carryover, and make the upcoming par 3 would be worth $20,000.
Jack Nicklaus from 20 feet.
So Jack missed a birdie putt at 1 15-footer, but he knocks in the 20-footer for birdie. Now it's up to Watson to catch him, and force a carryover.
We can talk about this, Tom.
What are you doing making that putt?
He's about 18 feet away. He was just 2 feet inside of Nicklaus. He didn't have the same line, so he can't really go to school on what Jack's putt did.
So
Pretty
Watson,
straight. I wanted to play it left to right, but that is it.
so Tom losing his opportunity, and Jack Nicklaus picks up 10,000. So in the first 3 holes, Watson has won 10,000, Player 10, Nicklaus 10. Let's take a look at the upcoming par 3, and Ben Crenshaw will do just that.
The first par 3 here at Desert Highlands is the 4th hole, 175 yards. The player should be using a medium iron to this green, and it sets up a pretty good opportunity for a birdie because the pin is cut on the front side of the green. As you can see, there's a swale in the back part of the pin that might tend to run the shots close. So you might see a birdie 2 here.
So far, then, Watson, Player, and Nicklaus have each won a hole for 10,000. Arnold Palmer is on the outside of the candy store looking in. You can see Watson winning 10,000 with a birdie, Player winning with a par, which was a little bit of a shock on the par 5, and then Nicklaus coming back with a birdie from 20 feet to win the 3rd hole and get his $10,000. The 4th hole worth 10,000. Remember, the first 6 are each worth 10,000. The next 6, 20,000 a hole. The final 6, 30,000 a hole. That's an awful lot of money.
That is. It's mind-boggling to think of all this money.
You know, Bob Golby was talking about Arnold Palmer, saying that he switches putters more often than any man who ever lived, and he switched from yesterday. Now, you have a reputation of being an excellent putter. Do you stay with the same putter for a long time?
I'll tell you, I've stayed with one putter ever since my father bought it as a 15th birthday present. I've putted with it ever since, but you know, these fellas are continually look for different feels in their game. I just like my putter, and I've putted well with it, and I putt with basically the same type that he does with Arnold's. But Jack doesn't change that much. He's stuck with the same putter on and off, but Watson putts with basically the same putter.
Jack did.
Some fellows are different. Arnold likes that. He likes to continually tinker on clubs, so he's always got to try something different.
What about you with drivers? Are you a man who has a barrel full?
I've tried some drivers now.
I bet.
I know, but I just meant from our side. Arnold, those boys all made a $10,000 skin there, but that was all just chicken feed, wasn't it? You're going for the big stuff?
Well, Bob, we'll go for something here in a minute. All these one putters I'm playing with, you know. Actually, I haven't hit very many good shots yet. I'm still looking for a good one.
Well, we just got started. You're just getting warmed up.
I hope so.
Jack's getting ready. Let's watch him hit it on this par 3.
This par 3, it's a pretty good carry, Ben, of about 165 yards.
It is. It's a mid-iron shot. They've got a little wind coming into their face. Although they do have a little bit of a cushion in back of the pin there. So I think what they'll try to do is tend to use certainly enough club.
Using a 6-iron, Ben. Right at the flag with the 6-iron, Jack Nicklaus.
Must be. I can't see that far. Somebody liked it up there.
Bob, that is definitely skin territory there.
Money territory.
That's right.
into us a little.
One of the great sights in watching them play is, for instance, the picture you see. Gary Player, and over his left shoulder, Tom Watson eyeballing his every move.
Started to the right, hooking right at the flag.
Eat it up. Beat the club. Great shot.
He knew that was good. Did you see him just pick up his tee? He knew that was good.
So he's inside jack, it would appear.
Very good.
That was a 6-iron Gary used, too.
Thank you.
Well, Bob, at least I know what club to hit this hole as opposed to the last hole.
Oh, it's also right at the flag. 6-iron for Watson.
Right.
Six, all right, Scotty? Yeah, you can get 6 on. Oh, thanks, Tom.
Get it.
Someone get it where we can make it, huh?
Pulled it to the left.
Gracious.
If it gets up, it'll be on the green. Ooh,
Where'd it go?
that's not exactly your easy birdie putt there.
Go in the trap? Anybody see it?
So all 4 men are on the green with Nicklaus, Watson, and Player looking at birdie putts. And we'll be back with the 4th hole of skins, all coming up right after this. On the par 3 fourth, worth $10,000, it was a case of can you top this, with Nicklaus along with Player and Watson, one hitting inside the other, and then Palmer reaching, although he has the lengthiest putt of all. Here was Jack Nicklaus's shot with a 6-iron. Nicklaus had the honors since he had won the 3rd hole. Now Arnold Palmer. A lengthy effort for birdie. Typical that he would wind up well beyond the hole.
That was a difficult putt.
What?
He's laughing about
That
it a
is
little bit. He'll get going here in a minute.
Gary Player followed Jack Nicklaus and hit a lovely 6-iron.
He knew that was good. Look, he went up and picked up his tee. He knew that was a good shot.
Watson, who also reached the green, is now away, putting for birdie.
No. Darn it.
Here was Watson's 6-iron from the tee on the 4th hole that eventually led to the par. So 3 fine shots on the par 3. Now Gary Player with a definitely makeable birdie putt. So Player gets his birdie, and now the heat is on Nicklaus. If Jack can tie Player, it would force our first carryover and make the 5th hole a $20,000 hole. So Nicklaus suddenly has Watson and Palmer rooting for him, and Player hoping that he will miss. And so Gary Player with his birdie picks up his second skin. He has now won $20,000. And Jack Nicklaus let a possible carryover getaway as that one burned the hole.
That was pretty good there. You got a little lucky, though, with Jack missing that, didn't you?
I certainly did, but you know, Bob, I can't help but thinking when I'm putting like that and make 10 grand on one putt. My father worked for 2 years for that. I mean, I just, you know, here I make it in one putt. Very grateful.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Gary.
So they move to the fifth hole, a par 4, again a $10,000 hole. And with Gary Player having won 2, here's Gary.
The fifth hole is a par 4, 425 yards long. The tee again is in the desert. You must carry the tee shot 220 yards just to reach the fairway. There's desert on the left and pot grass bunkers on the right. It's a narrow driving hole. After a good tee shot, you're going to have approximately a 7 or 8 iron left to a green with a big swale in it. Today the pin is placed way back in the rear, and it's going to be difficult to get to. You see there's a big bunker on the left and also some pot grass bunkers on the right. A birdie's going to be a hard score to make here, and a par 4 is probably going to be the best they're going to do.
So Bob Golby giving us the details on the fifth hole, a 425-yard par 4 worth $10,000. And as yet, no carryovers. Watson with a birdie at 1, Player with a par at 2, Nicklaus with a birdie at 3, and Player with a birdie at 4, picking up the skins. Player has the honor on the par 4.
Just sit still there, sweetheart, and you're fine.
Down the middle, down the right, down the center.
Thank you.
Perfect position, Bob, right in the left side of the fairway. The green opens up from the left where that flag is today.
Right side sliding slightly to the right. Right edge of the fairway towards that bunker.
Caught the bunker. Not too bad, though, really. He's got a pretty good lie.
Sure, really?
Bob, this hole's playing a lot longer than it has the last couple of days. They're blowing right into the wind.
Well, that wind is a factor here on the desert.
Sure is.
You can always widen the fairway.
Same line as Nicklaus, not drifting as far, though. Right side.
Depends on the bounce whether it stays in the fairway. He's got a good bounce. He's right in the right edge of the fairway.
It's all right. It's not in the bunker, I don't think. It's in one of your little grass bunkers there, I think, though.
He's heavy and he's hooked his way to the left, John.
For a change. Hey, Wes.
Tell you, it's over in the trees. People were ducking and falling down and everything.
So Arnold Palmer still looking for his first skin, in a lot of trouble. Players in the center left, Watson is fairway right. Nicklaus is in a sand bunker. And we'll be back with the fifth hole coming up. To recapitulate, you can see Gary Player with 2 skins has won $20,000. He did it with a par and a birdie. Nicklaus with a birdie and Watson with a birdie, each picking up $10,000. So far, the shot that got away was Nicklaus's miss from about 6 feet on the par 3 fourth, which would have caused a carryover. That meant instead of this fifth hole being worth $20,000, Player won the fourth with his birdie. To set up the principals, Arnold Palmer in trouble.
He just had to chop at it, Vinny, and he did get it out. It was a great shot from where he was. Perfect.
Same place as we are now. In other words. Okay, we went to the back.
Banged it.
What do you like now? What do you like now? Arnold playing or not?
Wind's quarterback.
Arnold has already hit, Gary.
Okay. You do? I do too.
Gary's 180 yards to
Which
the
way
flag.
is playing? Which way is playing? Right to left? Just say right to left or left to right to left.
He knows himself which way that wind's blowing. He's just verifying it with his caddy. Using a 4-iron, 180 yards to the flag. Pin tucked on the back part of the green, up on a knob. He started it to the right, and it is hooking back, John. It looks beautiful looking shot.
Great looking shot, Bob. 15 feet.
Good shot
Thank
from
you.
there.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed that shot. Tough hole today.
Watson just about 5 yards closer, 175 yards to the flag. Good lie, right side of the fairway. Using a 5-iron.
170.
Left of the flag, John.
It's got to come down or it's going to catch the... It is in the bunker, Bob.
Carried through the green.
Bunker.
Not really all that bad a shot. He hit the right distance, but that bunker cuts in very close to that left edge, and as a result, he going to have to scramble.
Nicklaus has a good clean lie in this right-hand bunker, a little on the upslope. It really will not make much difference. He can make good solid contact, hit the ball first before the sand. He's 170 yards from the flag. He hit it solid, slightly to the right, though, John.
Get there.
If that gets up, it's going to be good, but I don't think it's going to make it. No, he's short. Must
Might
have hit a little
get there.
chubby.
That wasn't a very good shot.
So Nicklaus is short, Palmer is in a bunker, Watson is in a bunker, and Player is 15 feet from a birdie and his possible third skin. Jack Nicklaus' third shot on the par 4, knowing full well that Gary Player was looking at a possible birdie putt. And he skidded slightly below the hole. Arnold Palmer was on but low. His best would be a par. Tom Watson's second shot found the bunker. And of course, he was still thinking about Player's possible birdie, and he was strong. So all of them, Nicklaus, Palmer, and Watson, and it is Palmer now putting for par.
Knock it in, Tom.
All right, Arnold.
So Palmer is out of it with a bogey. Watson needs this putt for par. Player from 15 feet missed, but then tapped in for his par. So Watson needs this for a tie to force a carryover.
We've got 2 chances for a carryover this time.
All right, there it is. It's our first carryover of the day, and it happened on the 5th hole. So it means the 6th hole, a par 4, 431 yards, will be worth $20,000. No skin on the 5th, and the plot thickens. Gary Player with 2 skins, his second on the 4th, has the honor on the 6th.
Down the right side, but he's hooking the ball. It could hook too much and catch that center barranca and rough and sand trap down in the junk.
Boy, you're right, Bob. He got a great break. He hopped up on the left edge, and he's got a nice lie in that sandy area. I mean, he's got absolutely got a shot at making a birdie after a not very good tee shot.
Well, you can say that again. If he's got a good lie, he is lucky, John.
Well, he bounded all the way up the hill.
Of course, this is a decision hole. You can go left and make the hole a little bit easier if you can clear all of that trouble in that barranca to the left. We'll see which way Jack is going. He started at left, down the right side, but it's slicing back into the fairway. It
Bob,
carried
believe it or not, he went right down in the junk.
He
in the
carried
grunge.
too far then.
Well, I think he pulled it. He'd have been better off coming over on this left side because the pin's back in the right and it opens up from the left fairway.
Tom on the same line as Jack, just slightly to the left of it.
It's over, isn't it?
He cleared all that stuff.
They're not having much success with this hole, putting the ball in play.
Here's a chance for Arnold Palmer to catch up. Remember, this hole is worth $20,000, so should he win this one, he would suddenly be tying Gary Player in skins.
Arnold gambling for the left side and hit a beauty. Boy, that's a good solid drive for Arnold.
Absolutely perfect, Bob. He sets up the hole beautifully from the left side of this fairway.
The sixth hole, an extremely difficult hole, decision-making time. And to tell us about it, here's John Schroeder.
Here's the sixth tee back in the desert again. Now, this hole gives you a choice of two ways to go. It's a double fairway, one to the right, one to the left. You can drive it a lot farther down to the right, but you have a much more difficult shot in the green because of these mounds and angles and pot bunkers and stuff, and the pin is hidden behind these hills here. So if you want to get close to the flag, the best way to play is to the left. It opens up from the left, and a birdie here will give you a definite opportunity to win another skin.
In talking about skins, Player has two, Watson and Nicklaus each one, but Arnold Palmer in good position for $20,000. As you can see, Gary Player has won two skins, Tom Watson and Jack Nicklaus one each. However, on this sixth hole, which is worth $20,000, Nicklaus is in the sand, Player is in the sand, Watson is in the sand, and Palmer really drilled one on the fairway. So Arnold could very well play catch-up on this sixth hole. There he is.
This is Arnold in the left side of the fairway. He's 170 yards from the flag. He's a perfect lie, using a 5-iron. Pin is tucked back in the right rear of this green. Arnold has the only open shot to the flag. The other fellas have to come over those knobs on the right-hand side. Arnold's second shot on this par 4.
Oh, I pulled it.
You heard it.
He might get lucky. Nope. Right down on the grass bunker. Not too bad, though, really, Bob. He's on the upslope and shouldn't have a difficult a shot.
I've not made a good swing at it yet. Thank God.
Oh, you got a line of sight.
Gary is over in the right-hand bunker. He's the next player. He's 160 yards from the flag. He has a good lie. Most of this sand, you do get a good lie.
My shot, is it?
Sort of firm.
He sure got a great break to even have a shot, didn't he, Bob?
Well, he sure did, like you say. He hit the other side of the bank and jumped over into this bunker in a good level lie. Jack has a terrible lie down in the bottom. This is Gary with a 6-iron. The right-hand bunker. He hit it fat and slightly to the right. It's going to be short of those mounds to the right of the green and back into the sand.
That's my worst shot in golf, that. I just hit that like a... Did a lot.
What does that do to their strategy now, Bob?
Well,
I mean, Nicklaus is now back in the ball game.
Yeah, no, Nicklaus probably isn't, though, because he has a terrible eye. He's in a footprint down in the bottom of this barranca. And he really has to...
No way here.
You heard him just say, no way here. He has to pick the club up very quickly with the club head and try to catch the ball on a descending blow. It's a very difficult shot. Almost bordering on the lucky shot here. And he sort of nosedived it. It had to come out that way. It was a knuckler, and it's knuckled into the same sand that Gary Player's in. Now, Watson's lie in the bunker is not the best. He's a little bit on the downslope.
If he can just put this on the green, he's in great shape.
Yeah. I believe Jack
Nicklaus with Watson with a choked up 8-iron. Going to try to just nip it out of there, and he did. He started it to the left, and it's cutting back to the flag. It's a beautiful looking shot, John.
Too much club, if you can believe it, Bob, through the gallery and over the knobs. This is going to be really exciting, to say the least.
Nicklaus from sand to sand, Palmer from fairway to pot bunker, Player from sand to sand, Watson from sand to pot bunker. Gary Player has dispatched his caddy ahead to the green, but before sending him off, he explained to the caddy a particular rule of golf. Namely, the caddy can take the stick the pin and hold it up, but he can then not put it back in the cup. He will take it up to give Gary the line, and then he will have to walk off the green with the flagstick.
David, remember when I hit, move away with the flag.
Ben, he's not taking any chances. That's about the 4th time he's told him. You gotta put it in writing.
Short in that grass bunker.
Jack Nicklaus said, "I'd like it back in,
Not
please."
that it makes any difference, but I'd like it back in.
This is the toughest shot in golf, isn't he? This long blast. He hit a little heavy, and he's short also.
Mine or Watson's? Still mine?
Recapping this hole sounds like an accident.
Jack's having a little difficulty with this hole, but he made it.
I'll let somebody else play this hole.
To give you an idea of this hole now, Jack Nicklaus has gone from sand on his drive, sand to his second shot, pot bunker third, pot bunker fourth. Palmer's third shot. Oh, he could be looking at $20,000.
There he was. He was laying in the weeds over there. He's looking good here. Watson's got a difficult shot.
Yeah. Palmer asking if that's good. For 20,000, nothing is good.
20,000. I can't get over that.
Thank you.
This is Gary Player's fourth shot.
A little hard. A little bit hard.
So Watson, as he just said, coming up out of that pot bunker a little hard. Arnold Palmer with a golden opportunity not only to win his first skin of the day, but since it's a carryover hole, Palmer can win $20,000. It would look as if Nicklaus and Palmer, Nicklaus and Player would be out of the hole.
4 skins out with 1 carryover. Martin, coming through, please. Thank you.
Left center. Easy.
Watson will take a double bogey. That improves Palmer considerably.
Started there.
I just wondered, do you want a putt?
This will be a $20,000 putt. That's all.
Come on, Arnie, get it in there.
There it is. Arnold Arnold Palmer wins his first skin, and it's gilt-edged for $20,000.
We broke it.
Hey, Arn, nice going. You were waiting for the big money, right?
We got there, didn't we?
So Gary Player has won 2 skins. Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, and Tom Watson has each won 1, but Palmer's was worth $20,000 to Ty Player. The 7th hole is worth $20,000. It's a par 3. Had Arnold Palmer not won the 6th hole, the 7th hole would have been worth $40,000. As it is the first of a string of $20,000 holes. It's a 190-yard par 3, and as the players make their way to the tee, let's go out to Bob Golby.
Well, Arnie's on the tee now after that good par that he made and made that 20,000. Doesn't really make any difference whether it's with a par or birdie. That's still a skin and a double one, a carryover. This is a hole of par 3, beautiful par 3, 190 yards. The pin is in the back part of the green in the center. Arnold studying and talking with his caddy. Going with a 3-iron.
Bob, there's a little wind down here at the green. I don't know if the players can feel it on the tee, but I can sure feel it.
Arnie's checking that ball.
I mean, another ball.
Arnie over the years has been a fantastic long iron player. He started it just at the pin and it's hooking off, John.
Darling.
It's got to get up. Barely got on. That rolled toward the green. Not too bad, really.
Shot, Daddy.
Looked like he didn't have quite enough club, did he, John, to get to the pin?
Terrible shot, Daddy.
I don't think so, Bob. But that's one of the strategies of skin game, you know. The big advantage here, of course, is hitting last. You can watch the other 3 players hit ahead of you, and then you've got a pretty good idea what the right club's going to be. That's a 2-iron for Gary Player. He started to the right. It's drawing back. It's a good-looking shot.
Darling.
Jeez.
Just on the right edge.
He got really unlucky there. That ball lit pin high and just trickled all the way over the green. I thought it was going to be a lot closer to the hole when it was in the air.
Gary swinging the club well today. He's made a lot of good swings today.
He sure has. He hasn't been hooking the ball as much as he normally does.
I think playing for 20,000 a hole will straighten out that hook, don't you, Bob?
He probably practiced a little more. Jack had a 4. I think he's going to a 3 now. Oh, there's a great-looking swing. Started it to the left, and it's going right where he started, left of the flag, John. Well, that was a good swing, Benny.
It sure was. Jack hits those long irons. It looks like he's just effortless. He took enough club there and made a nice smooth pass at it.
Boy, isn't that a sight? Player, Palmer, and Nicklaus.
Watson hooked it, going to the left.
Hit too much club also, Bob. Way long in the back part of that bunker there.
So Nicklaus, Palmer, and Player touched the green, although Player rolled over. But remember, Nicklaus led a possible tie getaway on the par 3 4th. Just a few moments ago, we saw Tom Watson hit his tee shot on the par 3 7th into the bunker. And he was first away, and watch this shot. However, Watson's best now would be a par. Remember, Nicklaus and Palmer are on the green. Second shot for Gary Player, just putting off the fringe. So his best will be a par. That means the door is open, and we have a familiar battle between Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer. Turn back the clock to the U.S. Open in 1960, 62, 67. What shows they put on, and now, as player goes out with his par, we'll see whether Nicklaus or Palmer can win this hole for $20,000. Watson's best would be a par. First away would be Arnie. So Arnold Palmer knocked it in and has a chance to win $40,000 in back-to-back holes.
Arnie of old there. How many putts has he made like that in his career?
Now he puts a lot of heat on Nicklaus, and of course, Player and Watson are rooting for Jack to knock it in, tie Palmer, and force a $20,000 carryover to the 8th hole, which is a par 4.
Jack said after all these years.
Well, I just...
Oh, boy.
Okay.
I'd love to do it one more time to you, Palmer.
Couldn't do it. So Arnold Palmer comes up with his back-to-back skins, and when he finally picked up skins, they had a little weight to them. A $20,000 skin on the 6th and a $20,000 skin on the 7th. The 8th hole is a par 4 coming up, and it's worth $20,000.
The 8th hole is a par 4, 438 yards long. I really like this hole because it's a decision hole. You can play a little sensible to the left and not take the risk of going over that bunker, which gives you a better shot to the green. If you stay to the right of that cactus with a big long tee shot of about 250 yards of carry, you'll have approximately a 7-iron to a green that's guarded on the left by that big sand trap. And if you are to the right, as I say, if you take the risk to the right, you'll have a better angle into the pin. This is a possible birdie hole because the pin is placed in a little bit of a swale in a flat spot. And if you get a good tee shot and a good little 7-iron, I think you can get a chance for a birdie here and win a skin.
Well, that skin would have been a sizable $40,000 skin with a carryover, but Arnold Palmer took care of that with that lengthy birdie putt. So he's got $40,000 in winnings on back-to-back skins. Let's go back to Bob Golby now as we start the 8th hole.
Arnold using a 3-wood on this hole. Going to go down the left side. Play sensible. Good shot.
Yeah,
Safe shot with a 3-wood,
right.
about 240 yards.
Left side of the fairway.
But all right, huh?
Gary going with the driver.
Bob, do you think he's going to go to the right? Because I think the wind's helping him today, isn't it?
He actually can clear it, John.
The scoreboard was wrong. Palmer only has 2 skins.
Yeah, he went to the left, too, right down that center of the left side.
That's ideal right there for going this direction. Absolutely perfect.
He started over the right-hand bunker, and he sliced it slightly to the right side, John.
Oh, he nailed that one, Bob. He hit it a mile. He's only going to have maybe a 9-iron to the flag. He's definitely got the advantage in this hole right now.
Watson also the same line, a little more to the left, but over that bunker to the right side.
He barely carried the bunker, but he's in good shape also. Tell you what, Jack is 100 yards farther up the fairway than Gary is.
All four players on the fairway in this $20,000 eighth hole, with Jack Nicklaus thumping a big drive 9-iron away from the green. We had some technical difficulties with the satellite, so some of you might have missed two of the drives. So let's take a second look at Jack Nicklaus. And did he ever rip it? Probably 100 yards beyond Gary Player's drive. So Nicklaus in perfect position on a $20,000 eighth hole. Now Tom Watson's shot. Watson hit it well into the fairway, but not nearly as well as Nicklaus, who is in the commanding position, at least for the moment. Nicklaus' skin came back on the par 4 third hole when he birdied. He's getting a little hungry now, looking for another one. Arnold Palmer, with back-to-back skins, including a carryover, has picked up $40,000 in the last two holes.
Arnold is 220 yards using a 1-iron. Little helping wind. The pin is in the left side of the green. He has to clear a big, gaping bunker on the left that guards that flag, and he's hit a solid shot right at the flag, John.
Bob, it didn't have quite enough carrots in the bunker. Arnold really had a very, very difficult shot to play. The pin's only about 10 feet on the green over that bunker. And
goodness, I hit that good.
Gary Player, the next player.
If anything, it was too far.
Watch it, sir. Watch it.
Got the gallery getting away out there. Everybody's so excited about this. They're trying to get good position to watch.
Gary's 180 yards.
Bob, again, he's got a very, very difficult shot to get this ball close, as he's got to come right over that bunker, whereas Jack and Tom are out to the right and can work it all the way along the green.
Gary using the 4-iron. He started it to the right, and he's trying to hook it. It will not hook for him. It's going towards the center of the green.
A lot better than he thought. That's 15 feet. It's Watson's ball.
Slightly to the right, John.
That's right. Oh, that's going to be up on that shelf. He's going to have fun with that one. Jack's by far in the best situation. You got to give him the advantage here now.
Jack is 165 from the hole, John. Good lie. Like you said, the best side of the fairway to come into the pin. He has the best opening. Pulled it to the left. Still a good solid shot.
It's in the bunker.
Ooh.
Oh, Jack. Looks like it's plenty far enough. I guess the bunker just keeps on going back here, doesn't it?
Nicklaus and Palmer in the bunker. Player is on the green a long way, and Watson is above it with a roller coaster. We'll have more skins, but now a message from the PGA Tour. The eighth hole worth $20,000, and although Gary Player and Tom Watson have reached the green, neither is in a favorable position. But of course, Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer are each in the bunker. And probably Nicklaus annoyed since he was in perfect position and then hit it in the bunker. Palmer was shocked because he thought he hit the ball about as well as he could and found out he was over.
That's right. Arnold really did have a long way to the green, 1-iron, and he said he hit it pretty well. He just misjudged it. Now, Jack has hit an uncharacteristic shot from him. That was about an 8 or 9-iron, and he doesn't feel too good about that.
One of the more difficult putts on the golf course is coming up for Tom Watson, Ben.
This is really difficult here. That swale there is about, it's about 3 feet high, and then it's really going to race down that hill after it gets over it.
No, I can see it.
He's going to almost have to stop it on that slope and just let it trickle down.
No, why don't you hold it? That's a good idea. What'd you bury in here, Jack? Buried something in there.
Got a big right to left break to it, too. pretty good.
So he has that left for par. Gary Player has a chance at a birdie while Nicklaus
Watch the
and
shadow.
Palmer coming out of the sand.
It's going to be perfect.
Gonna come back. Look at this. So that's how the great ones play this hole.
Local knowledge there. That was a bad one turned
Will you
good.
get it closer?
Look.
I'm all right there, Arnie.
He'll knock it in with a sand wedge. Now it'll be up to Arnold Palmer.
How about
We're going
that?
to run over a little bit. We'd like to alert our stations along the network.
Golly, what a way to
And we will conclude the 8th hole. We'll save the 9th to start off tomorrow. So Arnold Palmer is looking at a par. And the one man left now is Gary Player.
That was a great shot you played, Jack. Yeah, I know.
Vinny, his putt's going to break to the left about 5 inches. I heard him discussing it with his caddy.
$20,000 putt. He'll earn every inch of this one.
Card coming through, please. Thank you.
Is he
So
allowed to say
Gary
that's
Player will get his par. And it would appear that tomorrow, when we start the 9th hole, since we will have a carryover, the 9th hole tomorrow, what an opening act, will be worth $40,000. Remember, as we look at Jack Nicklaus performing a little miracle, driving it into the bank of the terrace green and bringing it back. Be sure to check the listings for time in your area tomorrow. Reminder, Skins will be on the air in Los Angeles at 4 p.m. following football. We got a big show coming up. We'll see you tomorrow with the first hole worth $40,000. Yesterday, on a most demanding and punishing golf course, we saw some wildly exciting play. On the first hole of par 4, Tom Watson knocked in a 14-foot birdie putt that meant $10,000, the first skin of the day. On the par 4 third hole, Jack Nicklaus had a 20-foot birdie putt for his first skin. That was worth $10,000. Gary Player had won a skin on the second hole of par 5 and now hit a gorgeous 6-iron on the par 3/4, 175 yards. Just outside Jack Nicklaus' shot, and Nicklaus missed his putt. And so Gary Player, putting for birdie, picked up his second skin of the day, and he had $20,000 in 4 holes. The 7th hole, Arnold Palmer, who had picked up a $20,000 skin at number 6, came right back with another $20,000 skin with that putt. And Palmer had forged ahead with $40,000 in back-to-back holes. On the 8th hole, a rather miraculous shot by even Jack Nicklaus. That was good enough to give Nicklaus a par. He caught Gary Player, and that forced a carryover. That meant the 9th hole was worth $40,000. Jack had this eagle putt with a severe break and missed. He had to settle for a birdie, and that kept the door open for Tom Watson, who cashed in the opportunity with this birdie effort, and so a tie at 9, making the 10th hole a carryover for $60,000. Today, 4 of the greatest names in the history of golf continue to vie for $360,000 in prize money. Jack Nicklaus came on the tour with a blonde crew-cut extra poundage and cast in the role of a villain in the 60s. 22 years later, he's established himself as the greatest player in the history of the game. His popularity now glows as bright as his credentials. Arnold Palmer on the scene in 1954 to become the most beloved player to ever step onto a golf course. And along the way from Latrobe, Pennsylvania to the Hall of Fame, he has won 61 times on the tour, including 8 major championships. Gary Player at 5'7", the smallest of the big three, who has made giant contributions to golf despite his lack of size. From Johannesburg, South Africa, a player indeed aptly named. Tom Watson, the Huck Finn of the PGA Tour, the freckle-faced redhead from Kansas, who has become the game's most dominating player over the last 6 years. He has won 28 tournaments, 5 British Opens, 8 major titles. The Player of the Year 5 times in the last 6 years. The years have been good to these four, Player, Palmer, Nicklaus, and Watson, and they have been great for the game. They meet today under the craggy stare of Pinnacle Peak and down on the desert floor where saguaro cactus reach like hands in supplication to an indifferent sky, mesquite and boulders scrubbed by the great wash. They will meet at Desert Highland Golf Club, one of the more unique, innovative, and imaginative courses in America. These four who have put on such great battles over such famous courses as Augusta, Oakmont, Cherry Hills, Baldersroll, Troon, Pebble Beach, and Carnoustie. All four paired today for the first time, and perhaps the last time, will do battle for $360,000 in skins. On the tee at the 11th hole is our referee for the skins game, former executive director of the United States Golf Association, Joseph C. Dye, Jr. Now, the 10th hole, Tom Watson missed an 8-foot birdie putt, so it is a carryover of $60,000. The 11th hole by itself is worth $20,000, so on this one hole, a par 5, the players, if we get a winner, he will make $80,000 on this one hole. First to tee off will be Arnold Palmer, who won the only carryover yesterday for $20,000. This is a par 5, 564 yards, and it has assumed monumental importance. And Palmer hooking the ball to the left side of the fairway, just to show you how the drama has built up. Yesterday on the 8th hole, Jack Nicklaus hit a remarkable bunker shot to tie Gary Player and force the 8th to become a carryover to 9, and it made 9 $40,000. This is Gary Player. And Player hard down the center of the fairway. Then the 9th hole yesterday, Nicklaus missed an eagle putt, settled for birdie, and Watson's birdie putt was made to make 9 a tie, carrying over to the 10th hole today, and the 10th was worth $60,000. On the 10th hole, Tom Watson missed an 8-foot birdie putt to make 10 a carryover to 11. And this par 5, number 11, is now worth all by itself $80,000. And here's Jack Nicklaus. Murmur from the crowd on the tee, good hit, and as you can see, Nicklaus has passed the previous 2. The question now is, can Jack get home in 2 on this par 5? Some tricky terrain to negotiate. Now Tom Watson, who saw 60 go out the window when he missed that 8-foot putt at 10, see how it affects him on 11. And Tom has a good-looking shot down the right side of the fairway. So can anybody get home in 2 on this par 5, Ben? That's the question before the house. And to see this hole, 564-yard par 5, let's take a very good look at Bob Goldby's description. It's worth $80,000.
11th hole is a par 5, 564 yards long. You notice that you have to carry the ball again about 195 yards over the desert land into that plateau of green out there that you see. Now, the ideal spot here is to the right center of the fairways. This green is reachable in 2 today by these great players. If you could drive to the right center, you can cut the corner and reach the green. But if you drive badly, you'll have to go down the left side as you see this green strip, which is the fairway, and lay up possibly with a 3-iron and hit a wedge into the green. Now, if you do get that great drive, as I mentioned, you'll be able to cut this corner over these sand traps in this barranca and desert land into a little plateaued green. You'll notice if you miss the green, you're going to have a tough chip because that pin today is placed up on top of a little plateau, and it's going to give these players plenty of trouble pitching around this green.
Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully, and welcome to Desert Highlands in Scottsdale, Arizona, and welcome to a wonderful game called Skins. Sure hope you were with us for part of yesterday to see Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Gary Player, and Tom Watson paired in a foursome for the first time ever, and for all we know, maybe the last time as well. And all the good-natured ribbing that started out, and then later on in the afternoon, as professional pride and ego surfaced along with the value of the holes, why things really got pretty tough. Talking about the value of the holes, let's just explain skins again. In order to win a hole, you have to have an outright winner. If 2 or more players tie, the value of the hole is carried over to the next hole. Yesterday, we had one carryover that changed a hole's value from $10,000 to $20,000. Now, the middle 6 holes of the 18 are worth $20,000. The last 6 holes of the day will be worth $30,000 at least. That's discounting the possibilities of some carryovers. So who knows how much money they'll be playing for when we get down to the last 6 holes. To tell us the story of this great show, we have Mr. Ben Crenshaw, who has battled all 4 of them out on the floor of many a golf course. And Ben, to be honest, I think a lot of us were shocked yesterday to see some great players make some pretty bad shots.
Well, they were a little tense at first. They were trying to get into the format, and everybody dipped into the kitty in the first few holes. Everybody is feeling nice and loose now. It's a loose but tight format. It's one that you can never blow yourself out with one hole. Any hole can really do a lot of damage, as we can see.
Well, you know, Jack Nicklaus made an interesting observation yesterday. He said it's the first time in his career he has ever played for money. He was always thinking about winning a title, not how much money it would mean. Arnold Palmer pointed out that in 1958 he led the PGA Tour in earnings with $28,000. And by winning back-to-back holes yesterday, he won $40,000.
Well, it's hard for me or anyone else to equate to that numbers in golf, but this is a fun-type format, and they know it.
Well, we'll see how much fun there is when they get to the last 6 holes worth at least $30,000 a hole. Telling the story, not only Ben Crenshaw, but out on the fairways, Masters champion Bob Goldby and John Schroeder. And with that, let's get to golf action. So the 11th hole, and before they play their second shots, a reminder, Arnold Palmer has won a double skin plus a skin for a total of $3,000 and $40,000. Gary Player 2 skins for $20,000. Watson and Nicklaus 1 skin apiece. This is Arnold Palmer's second shot.
Arnold with 3 wood, 280 yards, and he hit a duck hook.
Terrible shot there, Bob. That is down in snake country.
Heard someone talking.
$80,000 is makes you swing a little tough to get going, I think.
Gary's about 270 yards with a 3 wood. It actually isn't that much carry to clear that bunker up there, but it is to get onto the green in the middle of the green. He's going for the green also over all that barranca and desert sand and problems. Boy, he hit it solid right at the flag.
Well, even I really like that one.
Oh, it took a great bounce.
Thank you, Arnold. Thank you.
So Gary Player with a magnificent second shot is on in 2. And the challenge is thrown at the feet of Tom Watson.
Tom Watson with a 3 wood. started to the right side, John, right side of the green, up into that bank a little bit.
Just depends on the bounce. Oh, the hit and bounce to the right. He's a little short of pin high, down a little swell.
All four of these fellas hit beautiful drives for this hole. Jack's out about 255, 60 from the green. It's actually about 240 to clear that bunker, isn't it, John?
That's about right, Bob, I think. The balls are landing about 15, 20 yards short of the green, then bounding on.
Nicklaus with the 3-wood.
They're sure grinding a little harder today than they were yesterday, aren't they?
You can say that again. He pulled it to the left, hit it in the heel, way to the left, John.
That is going over in cactus country too. Ooh, he got a good break. He nipped the bush, and the ball kicked back into the grass, so he's still in the game. That's a great break.
That's a.
So Nicklaus gets a good bounce. Palmer is in trouble. Watson is just pin high but off the green, and Gary Player has reached it in two, and the plot thickens for $80,000. We'll be right back. Somewhat stony silence in the land of stones here at Desert Highland at Scottsdale. The 11th hole of par 5, worth $80,000 all by itself. Arnold Palmer duck-hooked his second shot, and he is in a lot of trouble. And just to refresh your memory, Jack Nicklaus got a fortunate bounce out of the cactus. Although he is not on the green, he does have a reasonable chip. Tom Watson is in a swale of grass just off the green, pin high. Gary Player reached the green in two, and here is Arnold Palmer trying to get ready. Let's go to Bob Golby.
Well, you see Arnold, he has to get up against that cactus bush. He took his head cover, his travel cover out of the bag and put it on his backside.
Going right through that. Huh?
He might put his rain pants on next, but he thinks those little needles will go through the rain pants. He actually has a decent lie, but not a very good shot, even if he can back up to that bush.
Well, I'm not going to get against that.
Bob, do you think he might impale himself for 80,000?
Well, he's going to try. You can bet on that.
Thanks a lot. But if I step, I can't step down on it either. Not at all. There's no way.
Picture tells it all, doesn't it?
Huh? What? Well, I tell you what, I think I'm gonna fool with that
Lefty.
thing.
Boy, he really wants that 80,000. He's really trying to figure out some way to put this ball back in play.
It caught the brush up short of the green here, be short of that bunker, and it went into the weeds.
Boy, you talk about desperate measures. Arnold Palmer forced to play left-handed for $80,000. Stay with us as we enjoy skins. Jack Nicklaus, who is well aware of the fact that Gary Player is on the green, Arnold Palmer picked up because he was out of the hole. A big shot from Nicklaus. Not what he wanted. He was hoping to get up close and put a further heat on Player, who is on the second terrace of this green and certainly does not have an easy putt for eagle or, for that matter, a cinch birdie. Not yet.
Jack's gotten a few designer's bounces so far, but it wasn't too kind to him then. Both players have delicate chip shots.
And Tom's shot is really a difficult shot. He's got to gauge the speed just right. He's coming out of the rough. He wants that ball to land right short of that hill and run it up the hill.
That was a good shot by Tom. He had a difficult shot, as John mentioned earlier. He had to hit into a big bank, and it was a good little shot up there. He's about 7 feet away. Gary is about 40 feet, and he has to go up about a 4-foot swale and a hump up to this plateau where the pin is placed. And he actually, you know, he has a good chance to make birdie, but it is a difficult putt to get down in 2, especially for this kind of money.
That's just strictly a field putt, isn't it, Bob Golby?
Well, actually, you know, it's going to be a little slower than he thinks because of that knob. It's going to go uphill, like I say, about 4 feet. All of a sudden, it's a sharp rise, and normally you never hit him hard enough. But Gary is a great approach putter. He has been magnificent with his putter. He's had this putter for over 20 years, and he very seldom even experiments with another one.
That's killed a lot of people, hasn't it, Bob?
At it, didn't he?
Great putt.
As great a putt as it was, however, Gary knows that he has still allowed Watson and Nicklaus one chance to catch him. $80,000 on this 11th hole alone. So even though most of us thought it was a good putt, you could see Gary didn't like the chance of letting the others two have another go at it. No jokes today.
No jokes. Gary's a little dismayed about that putt. He could clearly see that he was in the best position. He wanted to get it up a little cozier than that, which allows these other players a little more of a free roll. Now, Jack's got a difficult putt. Coming up over the plateau there. I wouldn't classify this one as a makeable putt.
Remember now, if Nicklaus and or Watson can birdie, they would catch Player and make this $80,000 hole a carryover hole to the par 3 12th. So now Nicklaus and Palmer are rooting for Watson to come up with a birdie putt and tie Player and force the carryover. Remember, from the 13th hole on, each hole is worth $30,000 alone, discounting the possibility of carryovers. But so far, in this game of skins, this is the single most important putt we've seen. Yes. So Tom Watson perhaps has saved the hole for the other two, or who knows what Gary Player's going to do now. Gary Player's putt is suddenly a killer. How far would you say Player is?
I guess he's about 4 feet now. As I said earlier, Gary's a little dismayed that he didn't get this closer.
What do you see? Pardon?
Ben, he's actually about 5.5 feet. You mentioned 4 feet. It just said a little longer than that, and that's why he was so shook, as you said, when he slid by. So this is one he has to wiggle in.
If he makes it, the par 3 is worth $100,000. If he misses, Watson has won $80,000 on this hole. 3 that's worth $100,000. And everybody's delighted, certainly Palmer and Nicklaus, who are out of the hole completely. And now suddenly they are very much alive.
You gotta get, Jack, you gotta give me $5 grand for that. You gotta give me $5 grand at the end. Oh, I know you.
Well, that's the first time we've had a loosener today. As Gary Player said to Nicklaus, Jack, you gotta give me $5,000 for keeping you alive and a shot for $100,000 on the par 3 coming up. Don't go wandering off. We're going to the 12th hole, 175-yard par 3, but it is not like any other par 3 in the world because all by itself, at this particular moment, it's worth $100,000 to the winner of the hole. It is a second consecutive carryover today, and of course we've had carryovers since the 9th hole yesterday. Arnold Palmer, who was blown out with a duck hook, is very much alive at 12.
Six iron slightly to the right of the flag, John.
Bob, this pin's cut in a very tough position today. He's going to have a very tough putt for 2. He's got to putt it up the hill from about 30 feet.
Where is it, Scotty? It's in the green, though.
You know, Bob, the interesting thing here is Skin's game strategy. I think Watson and Nicklaus have the big advantage now because they'll know exactly what club to hit this very difficult pin.
Back on the right.
Thank you. It is.
They have to hit it right through those goalposts, those cactus, and the pin is in the front left side, as John said, and the big gaping bunker guards that left front side. It's actually four plateaued greens. You could have a difference of 4 or 5 clubs on this hole.
What is it Lee Trevino says? Everybody leaks oil at some stage. We got 4 cars up on the rack right now.
Of course, Player and Watson didn't leak too much on that last hole.
No.
The thing that's making this shot doubly difficult today is it's also playing downwind, so the ball isn't going to check up as quickly as it might if it was calm or into the wind.
See players squinting out towards that green 175 yards away.
Player with a 6 iron also just slightly to the left of the flag.
Little long, Bob. That wind, I think, fooled him a little bit, but he's still in the game.
Well, he's pumped up the way he hit that 6 iron. I can't believe it. John must have carried 175 yards.
I think $100,000 might tend to do that to you.
Jack Nicklaus now, who was out of the hole and was saved by Gary Player, and his attempt to win it for $100,000.
Jack with a 6 iron to the left of the flag a little bit.
Little pass, but he's going to have a nice flat 20-foot putt for $100,000.
Just look at the combination of efforts by this great foursome of Palmer, Player, Nicklaus, and Watson. In the last 25 years, 40% of all the majors have been won by one or the other. And so the cream of the crop is here in Skins.
A little to the right, John.
He's right down there with Player, so he's going to have a very difficult putt at 2. About 40 feet, 35 feet.
So despite the fact all 4 players are on the green on this par 3, there isn't really an easy putt amongst them. And we'll be back with more Skins and $100,000. We're on the green of the 12th hole, the par 3, and because of carryovers and its own particular value to start with, it is now worth $100,000. And Tom Watson is away, and he'll have a shot at birdie. Barely.
No.
So Watson would appear to have a par, but remember, there isn't really anybody out there, Ben, is there, that you would say has a makeable birdie putt?
I'd say right now, Jack probably has the flattest of the putts.
So we'll see if par holds up now. If there is a tie at this 12th hole, the 13th hole by itself is worth $30,000. So if we get a tie at 12 and another carryover, the 13th hole, a par 4, will take your breath away. It'll be worth all by itself $130,000.
This is Arnold from 35 feet, basically on the same line that Tom Watson just put it up after a beautiful approach putt. A good putt for a medal play tournament, but not too good for that $100,000 purse right here. Arnold trying to make a birdie 2 here at the 12th hole. Jack Nicklaus is about 15 feet. You mentioned before how far he was. This is Arnold from 35 feet. He has to go up about a 4-foot swale.
My friends, what happened?
That might be a $100,000 putt, and the delight of the gallery equals Palmer's delight. Remember, in the 11th hole, that was a tie after Palmer had duck hooked, and everybody was rooting for everybody. But now suddenly, as he said, what happened to my friends? Where's Nicklaus, Player, and Watson? They're not talking. Remember, Nicklaus now about, I think Bob said 15 feet rather than 20 feet away, so Gary Player's next shot. And as far as Player and Nicklaus are concerned, Ben, they go full bore right at it now.
They're really doing some work now. You can better believe it. Short-lived friends out here.
Gary's about 23 feet away. He's going downhill by the 3-foot drop, and then his putt levels out. It's basically a straight putt from where he is. It'd be fairly fast because we're up in the hillside here, and we're looking down at the city of Phoenix, and he's going down grade, downhill.
So Player can pick up. The par is not going to do him any good. And now Arnold Palmer is Jack Nicklaus' putt away from $100,000. And what a note of irony. How many times Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer have butted heads in major tournaments. And here they are, $100,000 on the line for Nicklaus' putt. The most money Arnold Palmer ever won in a tournament, $55,000. And here he could win $100,000 with one putt on a par 3. Or Nicklaus could take it away from him.
I hope.
But two people rooting for him, too, Watson and Player.
God, it's quiet out here.
You see Watson directly
Particularly
behind.
you over there.
And Palmer eyeballing him on this side. He's really caught between the bookends. Nicklaus talking about how quiet it is. Palmer is rooting against him, and Watson is rooting for him.
I tell you what, he's dancing around here like British.
Oh.
This is kind of interesting,
did like
isn't
to
it?
play fast, didn't you?
That's the charm of skins. Remember now, Arnold Palmer duck hooked his second shot on 11 and saw $80,000 go out the window. And here he is with one putt, and he can win $100,000.
You know, Vinny, he has the power of stopping all of the funny business, though, and concentrating at the last moment.
One of the few who can turn it on and off.
Nicklaus is getting ready now to try to tie him.
hit the left side of the cup, and Arnold Palmer has just picked up $100,000. Arnie, nice go there.
Thank you, Bob.
That was fantastic.
My goodness.
You never ever won 100 at one time, did you?
I don't think I've won that much in my life. Hey, that was, I thought that thing had jumped out of the hole. I got so
thought
excited.
you lost it, but you went all the way around, didn't it?
Whew, I tell you what, that can make you feel pretty good pretty fast.
That duck hook didn't seem so bad now in the last hole.
Hey, Bob, what duck hook?
What duck hook indeed. Arnold Palmer, this was the putt for $100,000, and he has now won $140,000 to date. Around and around and in. Life begins at 54, and Arnold Palmer is $140,000 richer, and a lot more skins coming up with another possible $180,000 at least left. The 14th hole, 417 yards, a par 4. Gary Player has just saved the 13th, knocking in a putt for par to tie Nicklaus and make this hole a carryover worth $60,000. This hole, of course, all of a sudden assuming monumental performances, and for a description of the hole, upcoming right now, par 4.
14, I think, is one of the prettiest holes in the whole golf course. You can see the tee set back up in the desert again. As you look down toward the fairway, it's about 180 yards just to reach it. And we're heading right up toward Pinnacle Peak in the background. Isn't that a beautiful picture? Now you can see the big gaping bunker on the left, which you definitely want to avoid if you want to have any chance to make a birdie and win a skin on this hole. The players will hit drivers, want to hit a little draw down the fairway, and the ball should end up in about this position, leaving somewhere between an 8-iron or a 9-iron to this relatively open green. You can see it's well bunkered both right and left, and the players are going to be able to be very aggressive on this hole and go for birdie, and they're going to have to do that to get a skin here.
It has become, when you think about it, an emotional roller coaster. There was tremendous overall relief at 11. The pressure and the tremendous victory of Arnold Palmer, somewhat of a letdown then, as mentioned by Tom Watson, when the 13th was worth $30,000. But just like that, the 14th hole has jumped up and is worth $60,000, Ben. And even Pinnacle Peak might suffer a little pressure today.
Oh, that's a beautiful hole.
Down the center, John.
It's got to get over that cactus, Bob. Really carried that cactus.
Arnold said, what cactus?
You know, it's interesting. He won a carryover hole on the 6th, then won a $20,000 hole on the 7th, and then won the big carryover at 12. So here's another carryover at 14, and he has a big drive.
Down the center.
Thank you very much.
No problem there.
It's the best I've seen Gary swing in a long time, don't you think, John and Bob?
Well, you know, I talked to Gary this morning in the practice tee, Ben, and he's been working real hard. He had back problems for quite a while, and he's over them, and he's obviously very pumped up to come play in this wonderful event.
Oh, it's good to see.
Started down the left side, just at the edge of that bunker.
That's what you call an architect's bounce there, Bob. He's right on the left edge of the fairway and bounced right back into the middle of the fairway. And he's 50 yards past Arnold and Gary. He really cracked that one.
Down to right center.
Very nice, but not nearly as long as Jack. Jack's 50 yards by the other 3 players. I think he's taking dead aim on getting the skin finally.
Interesting that this is a course that Jack built. He got a fortuitous bounce at 11, which didn't help him, and he got a good break here at 14. And we asked Jack if creating this course created any special problems in the design, particularly incorporating the desert.
Bob, there really weren't any special problems. Actually, building the golf course out here is quite easy because, you know, it's mostly decomposed granite and fairly easy to move. It was trying to make the desert and the golf course and the mountains blend and try to, you know, make good golf shots come out of it. And what we did here is we tried to create almost a Pine Valley concept to create landing areas and places to play to, and then also to try and take those areas and internally drain them so that we didn't disturb the outside desert. And at that point, it allowed us, you know, to get pretty wide landing areas, pretty good sized greens. The people here asked me to build greens a little bit more undulating than I normally do, so I went ahead and did that. And then to try to take the golf course and fit it in the mountains, out in the desert, and try to build good golf shots, and one that not only I can play, but the people that are going to live here can play. And I think we've accomplished that. And of course, I used a concept that I've never used before, and what I say transitional bunkers is what we call them. They're not really bunkers because they're really just rough, but it's the area from the fairway to the desert is clean, and it almost plays like clean rough or clean desert. And we used that, and then I took the mounds that I built and tried to mirror a lot of the mountains in the background. And you'll notice that I've got very peaky mountains here. There are little mounds around which, and there's a lot of peaky little hills like Pinnacle Peak and the mountains that surround. So we try to take all those things, and to me, Bob, in building a golf course, all you're really trying to do is enhance what is here. You're trying to build something that complements nature, fits into it, and something when somebody goes out and plays it, say, gee, what a pleasant experience, and wasn't it pretty? And you just take the golf and build it around that.
They have certainly built golf around that, and the drama of our tournament, the game called Skins, really started on the 8th hole yesterday. They had a carryover to 9, a carryover to 10, a carryover to 11, and it made the 12th hole worth $100,000, and Arnold Palmer picked it up with a birdie putt of 35 feet. The earlier going saw Watson win on the first hole, Player a skin at the second, Nicklaus a birdie for a skin at the third, Player's second skin came on the fourth, and then we had a carryover won by Palmer on the sixth. Palmer won a $20,000 hole on the seventh, and then the battle was really joined. Carryover to 9, to 10, to 11, to 12. The 12th hole, Palmer's birdie from 35 feet was worth $100,000. The 13th hole, Watson missing from 10 feet, made that a carryover hole, and the 14th hole, a par 4, 417 yards, is worth $60,000. As of this moment, Arnold Palmer has won $140,000 with 8 skins, Gary Player with 2 for 20, and then you have Nicklaus and Watson with 1 skin apiece worth $10,000. But again, with each of the holes from now on worth $30,000 on its own, anytime you have a carryover, you suddenly have yourself a major pot. And right now, $60,000, and all 4 players, Nicklaus, Palmer, Player, and Watson, in good position out on the fairway.
Slightly
Get close, darling.
right at the flag.
Get close.
That
Get
is a
really
great looking golf shot there, Bob. 8 feet. Great shot.
Thank you.
Bob, this pin's cut in a very easy position today. It's a situation where they can be very, very aggressive. And you can see with what Gary did right there.
Is it in that pocket to the left, John?
Yes, it is. So even if you miss it slightly right, the ball will bounce off that slope to the right and go at the hole.
Watson with the 7-iron.
This looks good too. Oh, that's 5 feet.
7-iron also. A little to the right of the flag.
Depends on how it bounces. 10 feet. Another chance of that 60 grand. Now they're going to go 50 yards up to Jack's ball. He absolutely annihilated that tee shot, didn't he, Bob?
Yes, I'm measuring right now. He's 55 yards ahead of Arnold and Tom Watson.
But now the pressure's really on him. The three players are all within a 10-foot area of the flag, and he's got to put it in there closer. He's not going to have a chance at that double skin.
Well, he didn't win 69 tournaments by not hitting any good 9-irons, right?
That's right.
He will have a putt for a birdie. A makeable.
Ooh, that looks good. That looks real good, too. Oh!
Got spun that one back, I'm afraid.
Pro spin.
So they're all on the putting surface with Watson about 5 feet away. Earlier today, Arnold Palmer put on a pair of money green slacks, and John Schroeder talked to him.
Arnold, it's quite an event, isn't it?
Well, it sure is, John. It's a lot of fun, but it gets pretty serious at times, too.
I noticed you have a brand new pair of pants on. Ultra suede slacks. Were those specially made for this big event?
For the cool weather that we're experiences here early in the day, you know, and that little breeze, it keeps me nice and warm.
What are you doing now that you're, you got senior golf going, you're designing golf courses, you're playing a little bit. I know your life's changed quite a bit the last few years. How are you, what exactly are you doing?
Well, of course, I'm working probably harder than I've ever worked in my life, John. I'm playing some regular tour events and a lot of senior events, and, of course, an occasional foreign event along with the skin game, and that type of thing is really taking a lot of time. And I must say, I guess the bottom line is that I'm really enjoying myself, having a lot of fun, but still working very hard.
Can you believe the way the senior golf has taken off around the world? I mean, it's really gotten big all over the place, hasn't it?
Well, it sure has, and it's going to get even bigger. I think that we're going to see some more players coming into it, which is going to certainly enhance the game around the world. Japan and Europe and of course, America is really going strong on it now. Next year, we're going to be playing for over $6 million, which is probably unheard of, and I think that the people are really enjoying it.
Well, I know it's made you get back in shape, and how does it feel playing with Jack and Gary one more time?
Well, I think this is sort of a, well, I don't know, what do you call it, traditional or something. I enjoy playing with Jack and Gary. Of course, I've played with them for over 20 years now, and of course, having Tom come along makes it a lot of fun, and of course, I hope I have a lot more fun today.
Arnold, play well today.
Thank you, John.
Well, as you can gather in a low-key interview at the practice tee this morning, Arnold Palmer didn't realize that those ultra-suede green slacks would bulge to the tune of $140,000. But having won 100 on the 12th hole, he's really doing well. The preliminary call on the putts would have Nicklaus maybe 9 or 10 feet, Palmer 10, Player about 8, and Watson about 5. So Jack Nicklaus, who looked up into the sky briefly and then again as if to say thank you so much. And it's not for small favors, because remember, this is a carryover hole. That putt could be worth $60,000, but now it's a question of whether any one of three, Palmer, Player, or Watson, can catch him.
Getting tougher, isn't it?
Oh, my goodness.
Bad putt, but no icicle.
Well, Jack couldn't do it to Arnie at 12, and Arnie couldn't do it to Jack here at 14.
Vinny, I'm standing here with Jack, and he said you can't dodge 3 bullets, though.
Well,
No, you'll have a hard time dodging 3. It's pretty level putting, and I can't imagine all 3 of them missing this one, Bob. I said to Jackie down in the fairway when I saw the first shot come in, I said several people will birdie this hole.
Of course, you're the first one in, and that does help.
It sure does.
What kind of putt does he have, straight?
Straight putt.
Okay.
You were right.
No, I didn't think so.
Gary Player gets the birdie to tie Nicklaus, which means we have another expensive par 3 coming up. The par 3 12th was worth $100,000, and the upcoming par 3 15th will be worth $90,000. The 14th hole saw Jack Nicklaus knock in a birdie putt, but Gary Player came right back to sink an 8-footer and tie, forcing the 14th to a carryover hole. The 15th is a par 3 145-yard hole that suddenly assumes large proportions worth $90,000, and here's Bob Goldby.
The 15th hole is a par 3, 145 yards long. Beautiful little hole. It proves that you do not have to have a lot of yardage or a lot of length to have a great little hole. This hole is going to play a 7-iron or an 8-iron for these great pros today, and you'll notice there's a big swale in this green and a lot of undulation. The pin is tucked back up in the left part, and you're going to have to take enough club to clear that swale, or you're not going to have any chance of making a birdie because you're in 3-putt zone down in the bottom of that canyon.
So for the second time, we have come to a par 3 that will take your breath away, both literally and figuratively. Remember, the par 3 12th, 175 yards, was worth $100,000. Palmer won it, hitting a 6-iron and sinking a 35-foot birdie putt. Now at 15, you have a par 3 145 yards in length, worth $90,000. Wind blowing left to right, Bob, and as they come to the tee, we'll all be watching the club selection.
Arnold with a 6-iron.
You talk about a bird's eye view. How about those folks way up atop the craggy bluffs looking down?
Someone's shadow was in his back, looking in his line of sight there, so he had him move.
First shot.
Arnold 6-iron starting at the flag, but hooking to the left edge of the green.
That's got to come down here. That's way too much club. It hit it over the green, hit the spectators going down the hill. He is probably history as far as having any chance to get that skin. You know, Bob, the wind stopped right as he hit. I think he got fooled.
It's a little 3-quarter shot, and he just happened to nail it.
You know, I was surprised when you said he was hitting 6-iron, because the other day when we were out playing out here, you hit a 7-iron and got back here easily.
Gee whiz, hold those cameras, sir, please. A little bit.
Camera bothered Gary. Not one of our cameras. It was a little box camera.
Remember, $90,000 at stake on this hole.
Vinny, it's a big advantage for Gary hitting second. He saw Arnold hit the wrong club, and I think he's going to have the right club in his hand now.
7-iron for Gary. It's to the right of the flag.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
You think it's any advantage hitting second or third in this game?
Especially in a skin game.
You got that right. He's got it 10 feet from the hole and a very, very makeable birdie putt.
Jack with a 7-iron also. Good looking shot, just slightly to the left of the hole.
It's got to get up. Just barely. 20 feet.
When you say get up, John, you're talking about that big swale in that knob, aren't you?
That's right, Death Valley there. You don't want to be in there. You know, the critical thing here, Bob, is there's not much room back where this flag is, so your club selection is so critical on this hole.
Tom checking the wind. The wind did pick up just a little bit.
Well, down here at the green, it's died.
Seven-iron for Tom. Slightly to the left.
Pin high, 25 feet. Dead flat putt.
So as the players head towards the par 3 15th green, it would be Gary Player about 10 feet away who would be in excellent position to get a birdie worth $90,000. Tom Watson picked up his skin on the first hole. He hasn't won one since. We had a chance to chat with Tom before today.
Tom, it's got to be a real thrill for you playing with probably your boyhood idols, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer.
When I was 14 years old, I started watching Big Three golf on television, so you know how long ago that was.
In your wildest imagination, did you ever think that you would be involved in something like this?
In my dreams, yeah, someday. But who could, when you're a kid and loving the game of golf like most kids do, and they have a chance to play it, I felt maybe someday, who knows. You always play acted out in the golf course.
Right.
So I'm playing against Arnold Palmer or Jack Nicklaus. Of course, back in those days, Jack was the villain and Arnold, of course, was the king.
Was the hero.
And, you know, in a way, Jack's no longer the villain, but Arnold still is the king. He had the loudest cheer out there today, and he deserves it.
They've really meant a lot to the game of golf, haven't they?
Oh, absolutely. Look what Arnold has done for the British Open Championship, for instance. 1961-62, Arnold goes over and plays and wins, and then it reestablishes the championship as a major championship. And, of course, what Jack and Gary and Arnold have done for the major championships in the early 60s. Look how many major championships they won.
Yeah.
It's just tremendous.
I understand you're getting involved designing golf courses.
Well, let's put it this way. It's going to be an educational experience. I don't know how I'm going to do at it. I'm starting from scratch. I'm trying to study. We have an excellent project starting out at California, and it's called Spanish Bay, and it'll be in the Pebble Beach area. It's a home. It's kind of home away from home for me.
Is it something you want to do as your career sort of winds down in competitive golf?
I don't know. I just have to see. With my name going on to the project, I've had lots of other offers to do projects. I said, I'm not experienced enough to do that. I'm going to find out in this one project how I'm going to do, whether I like it or not, whether I'm any good at it or not.
Right.
I might be a 26 handicapper when it comes to laying out a hole out there.
Well, go out there and get some money today, will you?
Hey, this is a fun event. I hope that people all around the country and around the world enjoy this event as much as we are, because we certainly are.
All right. Great luck. Good luck, Tommy.
Thank you.
Who would ever forget Tom Watson dueling and beating Jack Nicklaus at Turnberry in '77 for the British Open? Or how about Tom Watson chipping in the 17th at Pebble to win the Open? Let's go to Arnold Palmer's second shot.
We saw Arnold shot there. He was over the green, and he had a sand wedge in his hand. He had a delicate little chip. He had to go up a rise of about 12 feet into a downsloping green, and he sort of hit it a little bit heavy, and he left it onto the fringe. He's in 2 off the green. But his ball probably will not be a factor at all in this hole, because Gary is about 10 feet on a good level putt going for a birdie, and Tom and Jack is about 25 feet, and Tom is approximately 20 feet. Jack is going to putt first. You know, Vinny, sometime in a game like this, even though the close guy, he has to putt last, the first guy in really is in the driver's seat sometime.
And to repeat those footage you just gave us, Jack's about 25 feet, Watson 20, and then player about 10. And remember, this hole is worth $90,000. If there is a tie at 18, meaning you have a carryover and money left over, this is the hole they would return to, the 15th, 145-yard par 3.
Jack using the same putter he has used since 1962 when he started the tour.
Palmer and Nicklaus would appear to be out of the hole, but nothing is certain. Player from 10 feet, Watson from 20 feet. Both putting for birdie.
Right.
Watson won his only skin on the par 4 number 1 hole when he knocked in a birdie putt from about 14 feet. Now he's faced from about 20.
Outside the hole.
And we mentioned earlier, Vinny, that he looked like the favorite as far as, but in a skin game, you can't really tell who gets a lucky putt and a good putt at the right time.
Well, I keep it right next to my mouth, see, because I don't want to.
So there it is. Gary Player now, from about 10 feet, has a chance to win $90,000.
Come on.
Ben, take a look at Gary Player's swing.
Well, I think he's been more aggressive here on some of these swings. As John mentioned earlier, his back's feeling better, and I like the aggressiveness that he's taken. He's hit some beautiful iron shots so far.
Well, now we'll see what he does from about 10 feet. This putt figures out to be about $9,000 a foot.
Bruce, just step aside, please.
This man has said never give up in his career. He's won about 5 major championships on guts alone.
It's unbelievable.
Quiet, please.
Just the cameras, Mr. Dye.
You can tell there's a little nervousness, a little tension, can't you?
Gary was spooked on the tee with people taking still pictures, and now again someone unthinking trying to take his picture on this putt. Now, Gary, annoyed at the tee, annoyed at the green, and now, no doubt, wailing at the gods inside. So Watson has a chance, along with Nicklaus, to get a tie. And on this particular course, you have back-to-back par 3s. However, the upcoming par 3 plays 244 yards. And if we get a tie on this 15th, the carryover would make the 16th hole $120,000. But somebody's got to knock it in. Jack missed his birdie from about 25 feet. Yes. So Nicklaus gets the par, ties player, makes it another carryover, and the 16th hole upcoming, a 244-yard par 3, and you write that in gold. It's going to be worth $120,000. As we check the skins and the winnings, it looks like Arnold Palmer's way out in front with 8 skins and $140,000, but the upcoming 16th is worth $120,000. Player could catch him on this par 3, and Watson would be 10 back or Nicklaus. Let's get a description from John Schroeder on this par 3.
Number 16 is another gorgeous golf hole here at the Desert Highlands, and you can see the tee is set way back in the rocks, way above the green. Now, this is a very unique hole. It's a 244-yard par 3, probably one of the longest par 3s I've ever seen. You hit from an elevated tee, as I said, to a green that slopes away from the players. It's got 3 different levels and about a 180-yard carry just to reach the fairway again. Now, the key here is obviously hitting the ball the right distance, and with the pin set in the back today in a relatively flat position, if you can get it close to the hole and make a 2, you should win a skin.
Ben, it's rather interesting about Desert Highlands. Closing up, you finish with back-to-back par 3s followed by back-to-back par 5s.
That's right. I know of another golf course that has 2 par 3s and 2 par 5s in a row. Its name is Cypress Point.
Well, here's Arnold Palmer. He's won $140,000, trying to add another $120,000.
That's a 3-wood for Arnold. He's hooked it way to the left.
That is going for Rock City there, Bob. He's got to get a break to even find it.
Yeah, he'd get a break if 2 guys tie this hole.
That's right. I think that's what he's rooting for already.
What a terrible way to get.
You know, Bob, this whole play is a lot shorter than the yardage because they're so far up there in those rocks.
Gary going with a 1-iron. Going to try to hook it off that right side.
Ideally, what they want to try to do is land it on the front third of the green and let it trickle all the way into the back.
It appears as if he's lost his concentration.
I think I would, too, for $120,000, Vinny.
Well, he was visibly annoyed and affected by the cameras on the previous hole.
Started to the right side of the green. Got to get a good bounce.
This is not going to be very good here. He hit it too far to the right. It's going to go down a swale on the upslope. He'll have to chip it. He had the right idea. Just pushed it a little too much, Bob.
If he'd have hooked it, would it have gotten there, John?
Absolutely. It was an ideal shot to play. Would have landed in the front third of the green and run down the hill at the flag.
Jack with a 1-iron.
Bob, I got to say, this is one of the prettiest holes I've ever seen looking back up at the tee. Really is gorgeous. Pardon me, $120,000 nerves.
I think got a little gust of wind. Right center, towards the right edge of the green.
Depends on the bounce. This looks like the right kind of a shot. Didn't hit it far enough, and you can see it got that swale and ran off to the right. I'll tell you what, 3 might be a pretty good score here.
The wind came up on him, and he got the ball a little too high to get the scoot and the run back to that flag, John.
You know, Bob, it's very difficult when you're way above a green to really gauge the distance. It's sort of the optics are kind of funny, and a lot of times you will miss club.
Tom going with a 3-wood.
Well, if he's hitting 3-wood, you know he's going to try to carry it all the way back to the hole.
Left it hang to the right, towards the right edge of the green.
All depends on how it lands. He's right with Jack. This is going to be fun here.
So Palmer hooked his drive and hit it into the rocks. Gary Player pulled it far right into a swale. Watson and Nicklaus are on the green with long putts on a par 3 that's worth $120,000. Jack Nicklaus, an overnight hike from the Cup. In fact, he referred to it as he walked to putt by saying, "I did this." So you couldn't call this realistically a birdie putt at all. It just happens to be his second stroke on the par 3. He did it, and it burned out. That's the second time today the gods have denied Nicklaus. He burned the Cup, you remember, trying to catch Palmer at 12. Now he's in and out. That probably would have given him a win here at the 16th hole, par 3, worth $120,000. If you remember, Arnold Palmer hooked his tee shot into the rocks. And here was Arnold's second shot out of the rocks into the bunker. So now live, Watson's putt. For $120,000, Tom Watson and Jack Nicklaus have come that close and are that frustrated.
I've never seen two better putts than that.
Tom, there was no way that could stay out. No way that could stay out.
I think Nicklaus just then gave thanks.
Jiminy cricket.
Yeah, he said no way it could stay out, but he's glad it did.
David, stand at our ball, please.
Now, remember, Gary Player,
Arnold, where's your ball?
should he come up with a remarkable shot for birdie, could win 120. If not, we're faced with the prospect of turning the 17th hole to be worth $150,000.
David, have a look at that. How much do you think?
Oh, man, that's up in the ionosphere. I can't think that high.
What do you see, David? Yeah, hurry up, please, Dave.
Have you ever seen 3 shots that have avoided the Cup?
That's 3 tremendous tries. And you have to have so much feel to do that. It's unbelievable. They're 120 feet out.
I always remember the caddy's expression on the tour, that ball's afraid of the hole in the dark. Well, there's 3 of them. All right, Player, a par. Watson for par, which would make it the carryover. Okay, hold on to your hats. We have a par 5, 17th hole coming up, the winner of which would get $150,000. See you in a minute. The gods have tantalized Nicklaus and Player and Watson. And we go to the 17th hole, which is now worth $150,000. Let's take a look at it.
17th hole is a par 5, 570 yards long. As with all the par 5s here at Desert Highlands, they're reachable in 2, but you must hit a long, straight tee shot. You'll notice that you see a bunker on the left with some cactus that are growing right out of the sand. But if you can keep your tee shot to the right and hit it approximately 270 or 80 yards, to a little flat plateau that's out to the right there. You can reach this green in 2. If not, you're probably going to be back in this area. You're going to have to lay up short with your second shot with a 4-wood, possibly hitting a sand wedge or a pitching wedge to the green. Now, the long hitter will be able to go for this green in 2 if he gets that good tee shot. But the green is very small, and it's not going to really provide a lot of birdies, even if you go for the green and miss it, because it's got a lot of trouble around it. And your second shot, if you play safe, is going to be right here. You're going to be hitting a sand wedge for your third shot over that sand trap to a pin placement that's set in the right side of the green, and it's on a little bit of a slope. Even if you hit a good shot in there, you're going to have a tough time negotiating your putt because the pin is placed in the hillside.
Arnold Palmer will be first up on the par 5, worth $150,000.
Oh, come on.
He hooked it way to the left, John. Way to the
Yeah,
left.
he's going to knock some people over, it looks like. That is over in the prickly cactus again.
Lady,
I think Arnold was trying to give that just a little extra.
He could possibly be out of any birdie chance there.
But like we said, Bob, he was out of it, and then he makes that long putt and wins $100,000. So you just never know in this format.
Perfect, right down the middle, right on the right-hand side where you want to be.
This ball isn't going to be very far, Bob. He's way short of the start of the bunker. He's got no chance to reach this green in 2. You got to give the big advantage here to Watson and Nicklaus because of how far they can hit the ball.
Beautiful, right down the center of the right side. Just where you want to be, and solid and long.
If he gets a good bounce, he'll be in reachable range. Ooh, you know what, Bobby caught a great lie. You know, it's a downslope in this area, but he caught a little dip, and he's got an upslope. He's going to have a great stance to give it a good hit and try to reach this green in 2.
To the right side, drawing back. Could be good if it gets a kick off that bank.
Yeah, depends on the bounce. Oh, it plugged. That is really a bad break. The ball doesn't plug. He's down with Nicklaus where he can reach the green in 2, but it's plugged now. He's got no way to reach the green in 2. He's going to have to lay up to the left. The advantage is definitely for Jack Nicklaus here.
So Palmer hooked, player is in the middle but short. Watson has plugged, and Nicklaus sitting high for his second shot. Gary Player preparing for his second shot on this par 5. We haven't had a skin since Palmer won $100,000 on 12, and the 17th is now worth $150,000.
2 iron for Gary down the left side, right in the middle of the fairway, John.
Yes, Bob, the ideal situation here is to get as far down this fairway as you can because the pin's set in a relatively easy position today. You've got plenty of green to work with, so they want to get close as they can to have a pitch for that 100 and what I can't even remember how much money they're playing for. I'm so excited.
He was 300 from the green, and Tom is 290, and Nicklaus is about 260 from the green. So Tom's ball was plugged. He's getting a ruling from Joe Dye. He does get a free drop.
Where would you mark the nearest place right here? Right here? All right. Nearest place right here. Where would you mark it on this side? Where would the nearest place be this? A little bit farther up? Okay,
That's the way the ball looked when it plugged, and we mark that area, and he'll get the free drop.
All right. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Remember, Arnold Palmer hooked his drive and was in a lot of trouble. So while Tom is taking a drop, we'll see Palmer extricate himself from the bramble bushes and the cacti. And what a shot coming up. He muscled it through the bush, over the bunker, and he is in excellent position, lying 2. Player is lying 2. Watson getting a ruling, and now ready.
2-iron down the right center, laying up.
Little left. Little left.
He's short of Gary. He's going to have kind of an awkward lie, believe it or not, Bob. The ball will be a little above his feet. I'll tell you what, I put my money on Nicklaus here. He's got a big advantage with that stance he's got now. He could have been standing on his head trying to hit off a downhill 260 yards of the 3-wood to this green. That's not an easy shot.
The wind has come up a little bit of help, and he will need it to reach that green. It's a long carry.
You can bet your life he's going to really crank this one up. He's not going to leave any of it in the bag.
He's spitting on his hands like a man who's going to chop down a tree.
That's right.
I think we're going to see a 24-cleat swing here.
That's right, Ben.
Started to the left side of the green, toward the left edge of the green, John.
That's got to hurry, but it's got a great chance to get there. Oh, it hit in the side slope there, one of Nicklaus's little holes there, and bounced off the green left. He's pin high, and he's definitely got the advantage now.
So Jack Nicklaus, in his own words, I killed it. He's just off the green to the left, pin high in 2 on a par 5 worth $150,000. Here's Jack Nicklaus, his 3rd shot on the par 5, and in the driver's seat until just a few moments ago when we saw a couple of rather incredible shots which have brought the others right back into it. We'll show you those in a moment, but Jack has some pressure on him now.
See, it took a little break to the left and ran by about 7 feet. Good chip from that point because he had to negotiate about 2 swales and a knob and a couple of breakers to the left and right.
All right, Jack Nicklaus is 7 feet away roughly for a birdie, but here's why with some pressure, not necessarily from Arnold Palmer, however. Remember, Arnold hooked his tee shot, came out of the trouble, and from 163 yards, he hit a 7-iron that checked up and went back into the bunker. So Palmer in the bunker at 3. This 17th hole, a par 5, worth $150,000. This is live now. This is Palmer's 4th shot out of the bunker. So he is now lying 5 and would appear to be out of it. We mentioned the excellent shots a few moments ago. First up would be Tom Watson. Remember, he had laid up after getting a free drop, and now with a wedge. Not a bad shot at all as he looks at a makeable birdie. But here's the shot that still has the gallery talking. Gary Player, and watch this. If they were frustrated on the 16th, take a look.
You think that was a neat little swing there?
Player is talking to himself and his caddy, and he said, David, we've just got to find a way to get him in.
That's right. Does he believe in himself?
Oh, wow. So here's Watson now, putting for birdie to try and put some heat on Player and Nicklaus. Palmer is virtually out of the hole. So Watson had a chance at 15 and missed. He just missed at 16, and he just misses at 17. For the moment, anyway, it's a battle between Nicklaus and Player. If Nicklaus and Player putting for birdie, should they both make or should they both miss? The 18th hole would be a carryover. Hold your breath. It could be worth $180,000.
About 7 feet, Vinny.
Nothing like a little skin game to get your heart started in the morning, isn't it?
Nicklaus? Nicklaus is 7 feet. Gary Player 3.5. A strong 3.5. Maybe 40 inches.
Never move. Never move. Absolutely.
So Gary Player is that far away from $150,000. Gary Player, birdie 17, has won $150,000 on the hole.
Oh, Bob, I tell you, I'm so excited about that. That'll buy a lot of alfalfa for those horses.
A little sweat down to the palms there, Gary?
I tell you, I'm choking more than when I won the U.S. Open.
Stay going, Gary.
Oh, boy.
Well, you wonder, how does it feel for these fellas to play skins? There's the quote, "I'm choking more than when I played the U.S. Open." Wow. Gary Player, fresh from winning $150,000 on the 17th, shooting for a $30,000 18th.
Hooked it to the left towards the big bunker, John.
Oop. That's where you don't want to be in this hole, Bob. You can reach this hole.
First bad drive. First bad drive.
Carbon copy of Arnold's after he won the 100,000.
You know, that's right, Bob. The adrenaline and then the subsequent letdown. Palmer has not hit a ball well since the 12th when he won 100. And Player was literally gasping for breath before he hit here at 18.
He started it to the right and put a big hook on it towards the bunker also.
That is in not very good shape there. Vinny, you know, the amazing thing about this is the two oldest players in the foursome have all the cash. And you've got the younger guys that have done the best.
Gary Player said to Arnold Palmer, "Isn't it amazing that the two of us who have played for over 30 years as professionals, and this is the biggest day we've ever had?"
I think all the senior golfers around the country are really getting pumped up watching this.
Well, sure. Palmer's 54, Player's 48. Here's Jack.
Started left side, fading back to the center, a big hit. Good and solid and long.
That is a big hit, Bob. It's going to be on the right side of the fairway. And he can reach the green from there. No problem.
The thing for Jack, you have to go back to the 3rd hole when he had a birdie, and then the 8th hole when he had the bunker shot to tie. So he's had just one skin. And of course, he is still trying to get over the fact of missing that 7.5-foot putt and letting Player win the $150,000.
Watson started down the left side a little bit, is hooking towards the edge of the bunker. Hanging, caught the bunker.
So Palmer, Player, and Watson are in the bunker. Nicklaus is long on a $30,000 18th hole and will be coming back for the finish. This is the second shot for Jack Nicklaus on this 18th par 5 after a big drive.
Here he's got to get it up in the air and hit a high cut with a 3-wood to carry those big knobs and mounds in front of the green.
Topped it into the, going through the bunker.
How about that?
Crosses the fairway.
Can you believe that?
Never seen Jack ever. Arnold, have you ever seen Jack do that?
No, I think that's the first time I've seen him top, really just flat top the shot.
He probably swung a little harder.
He was trying to hit it really hard, no question about that. He could have got home. He made 3 here the other day.
If you remember, Palmer, Player, and Watson all hit their tee shots into the sand. Palmer had a bad lie and hit a fluff shot barely out of the bunker. Player went with a wood and cracked it cleanly a long distance down towards the green at 18.
Where is the pin, Scotty?
Then Tom Watson was using a 4-iron.
Oh, I see it.
And Watson hit it cleanly down the middle of the fairway, where he has a good approach towards the green. So Arnold Palmer will be hitting his third as Watson, Player, and Nicklaus walk to their balls.
With a 2-iron from 205 yards.
Boy, this pin's really cutting a tough spot, Bob. Right on the right side of the green.
He's hit it solid a little bit towards the flag, John.
Good looking shot, Bob. Come on back down that hill. Oh, that's a bad break. If that ball hits a little shorter, it's going to go right back down that slope to the flag.
Are they clapping?
So Arnold Palmer is on the green, but well above the flagstick. Nicklaus, Player, and Watson still to be heard from. Tom Watson won his only skin on the first hole. Now he's putting for birdie, trying to win his other skin on the last hole, the 18th par 5. Nope. So his best will be a par. You remember Jack Nicklaus started off with a good drive, topped his fairway shot, and this was his third shot to the 18th green. So Jack rebounding from a poor wood that he cut badly. Meanwhile, Gary Player, you remember, hooked into a bunker, used a wood to get out, and this was his approach. And he was strong and long, and it wound up high and to the left of the flagstick. It was too long a putt to expect him to make, and he didn't make it. This was Watson. He had hit into the bunker, used a 4-iron to go to the fairway, and this was his approach. And it looked like Tom had a definite shot at a birdie, only to see it get away. So that brings us to Jack Nicklaus. Oddly enough, despite shocking most of the gallery and his fellow players when he topped that wood trying to cut it in the fairway, he is the man who can win the hole and $30,000. By the way, this is the last pork chop on the plate. It's worth $30,000. If we don't have a winner here at 18, they will go to the 15th hole, but there is no money to carry over. So it's 30 now or 30 later. A birdie putt to win the hole, since both Palmer and Player and Watson all missed birdies.
Desert critters.
And he did it. The Jack, whose only skin had been on the third hole when he knocked in a 20-footer for birdie on the par 4, comes back with a birdie at 18 for his second skin, and it gives him $20,000.
Jack, nice going. Long
Finally.
time to get that big one, huh?
Gosh, you know, I hit a lot of good putts today, and not many of them went in, but that one went in.
But you know, what really was impressed me, the fact that you missed your second shot and you didn't let it unnerve you. You came back and hit a great third shot.
I really hit a bad second shot, and then, of course, I had a good third shot with a little 7-iron, Bob, and I guess we finally read a putt right.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Jack. Tom, I know you didn't make as much as you wanted to. You hit some great shots, so you just didn't make those putts.
Well, I didn't make too many putts today, but I had fun. This is good for golf.
Yeah, well, you've made a
I've
few,
had
and
a-
you've done a lot of great things.
Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot, Bob.
Arnold?
Bobby,
Nice
I'm,
going.
thank you. I'm very pleased. I'm sorry I didn't play a little better after I made that
putt over there, but I'll be satisfied with that.
140,000 is great.
Not a bad day.
Gary, nice going.
Thank you, Bob. I really enjoyed playing with these three fellas, as always, and would like to congratulate them on their fine golf course here. They've really got a beautiful golf course.
Well, nice going in the first skins game.
Thank you, Bob.
And we would assume that both Arnold Palmer and Gary Player will leave Desert Highland in a Brinks truck. Mythology tells us the Phoenix bird rose from the ashes, but we had a gathering of eagles at Scottsdale. The highlight had to be the 12th hole when Palmer knocked in a 35-foot birdie putt to win $100,000, and the 17th hole when Gary Player's birdie gave him $150,000. Rich Eagles. Here's how they finished up. Player 170, Palmer 140, Nicklaus 40, and Watson 10. That ain't no bad crowd to hang around with.